What's up, guys? Clag here, whatever you want to call me, honestly. So we don't have an updated any percent yes cloak or yoke route. So I decided like this morning that I was going to make one. It's like 10 at night, so like bear with me, it's gonna be out late. But I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna basically make this one video going through the run as a whole, describing like what I'm doing, what I'm looking for. This is gonna be kind of like not a full in-depth tutorial about everything, but just something intermediate before we have like a really polished tutorial to go through everything. So I'll go through, at first we're gonna start with like the basic tech you have to know for this run. And then we'll end up going through the run bit by bit. So I'm not gonna go into like the different ways you can enter Meridell or anything like that. But I am gonna go through like, here's what we do, here's how this works. If you were to mess up this certain thing, here's how you can recover it. You know, you don't have to throw runs away just because you mess up one trick most of the time. There's a few exceptions. I am running Monsters Hack Tool. If you're running on console, you'll need a free McBoot card and you'll have to load that in. I don't know the details of that, but I know Jax's tutorial, the first episode, talks about how to do that on a PS2. If you're playing on digital, then that is as easy as putting that into the cheats folder for PCSX, and then going here to your game properties, going to this infinity, and then toggling cheats to blue. It'll be on red by default, I believe. So you click it once for intermediate, I don't know what that means, and then blue for on, and then you'll have to reload the game through close and then reset system. And so what that'll do is that'll allow us to start anywhere in between the 4 acts, as well as like certain points the monster made. We can give ourselves any item, we can edit flags for the game, we can teleport anywhere we want. There's a bunch of things we can do, but I'll be making use of that here and there to speed some things up. First, I'm gonna go ahead and take us to the debug area. Movement elements. So if you want to go over and mess with this, you go to, that's not the way to do that, 95. 94 has different entities and weapons you can mess with. 95 has a bunch of different movement elements. And real quick here, I'm going to give myself the Cloak of Heroes. You'll start learning what is kind of where. So like speed potions are 56, power potions are 55. The Cloak of Heroes is 126, or the Tattered Cloak. And to go up like individually, like this, it'll just be up and down arrows on the D-pad. To go through pages, like 10 at a time, you'll do left and right arrow. And then if you hit left arrow, you can add digits, right arrow to take away digits, assuming there's nothing in, say, this first one. If I could do this right. So like that, hit right. If you're at the minimum and you hit right, you'll go to the maximum. So we have 9k speed pots. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over Ledgeflies. Ledgeflies are really complicated. Also, forgot to mention this. If you go into the hack menu and then go into options, you can turn on show coordinates, and that'll show you not only your X, Y, and Z, respectively from top to bottom, but your speed value, your gravity, which is very important for a lot of these tricks, and your Y velocity, which I don't think is super important for any of these, but still. The first thing is Ledgeflies. Ledgeflies are weird. You have to be on the very edge of a ledge or slightly behind, and we'll go through that. But if you were to, say, slowly walk off an edge like this, and pull yourself up, you're on the very edge of said ledge. And so if you come here, and I'm not going to do anything but force unequip the cloak, which is either hitting circle or hitting R2. And then after I start that animation, I'm going to hold down on the joystick, on the left stick, and when the screen flashes white, I'm going to hold X. And I have to do that until I start moving. If I actually hit the buttons, that would be, I need to give myself a weapon. Yeah, don't forget to do that if you're loading into a save without anything. You do have to have a weapon for that. Okay, there we go. So, should look like that. And so we're getting a slightly downwards angle, but theoretically, that should get you most places you need to go with that sort of Ledgefly. You just turn yourself straight around, put on the cloak, and do that. And so that's what we call a straight angle Ledgefly. We have a few other types of Ledgeflies. So we have some displacement angles, which I can show off later. That one is easier to show in a run, because I don't know how I would necessarily set that up, but maybe I'm just bad. I don't know. So we have displacement angles where you start going one direction and then move to an opposite angle or direction. We have low angles, so either, say we're standing on the edge of this ledge, like we set up before, and I angle myself to the side, and I do the same thing. You'll get a slightly lower angle, and I believe if I do this a little bit harsher, there you go. That was more of a downwards angle that you could see. And so the weird property with downwards angle Ledgeflies, or any Ledgeflies in general, is that wherever you're Ledgeflying towards, once you go below the level of the ledge, or with the case of downwards, sometimes you'll go further than that, but still at some point, you'll get zipped back to the ledge so long as you go below its point. But you won't get zipped back where you were, you'll get zipped back along the same axis as the ledge. So the other ledge that I just flew from is straight, like horizontal almost, from where I am now. And I'm just on this part of the ledge that doesn't exist. And so I can step up on this. If I spam jump, sometimes you can jump, but it really depends on the collision. Another way we can do that is with Tor, we can get a, I'm gonna give myself high gravity, just for the sake of everything being mostly the same here. If you were to use your attack at the edge of a ledge, you'll be set back a very specific amount of distance that Tor will always get. And so now if you do the same inputs for a Ledgefly, you'll go down pretty drastically. And we use that a few times, namely once in Act 4 to get out of bounds. Similarly, which we'll see in Illusen's, if I were to say, do that to set myself back, and then hold L2, and if I don't have a speed potion, hold R1, and then instead of holding the left stick down, holding it up, we can do an upwards angle Ledgefly. Apparently not there, but in like a lot of places you can. One place being Illusen's, another place being, let me think. I believe there's a Ledgefly in the the ruined caves in Act 3. I'll have to show that one off at Illusen's. Not all the ledges can do that one that way. That one is used pretty rarely, but I guess you can use it to save some things every now and then. Ledgeflies are really complicated. I know Keiko has talked about making a comprehensive Ledgefly video. It's completely bonkers how it works. There's so many random variables that matter, so your gravity matters. Oh, you know what? That's probably why I wasn't getting an upwards angle. So I have low gravity now. Let's try that. Gravity. Let's see if this makes a difference, but I don't know. There we go. So having low gravity and then doing those inputs will give you an upwards angle. And so if you don't have anywhere to go for that, you will soft lock, just so you know. And I can mention a few ways that that can accidentally happen later. Ledgeflies are really weird and you kind of gotta mess with them. And there's a few setups that I can show. Actually, I can show one right now. One that I found for Hundo is if you were to say, I guess Hundo and all bosses, say you're a set amount of distance away from a ledge. Or maybe you don't even have to be. Hold on. We can do some experimenting right now. If I were to do... No, I will have to be away from the ledge. Be a set amount away from the ledge, and then do that same one. Okay. It only works with certain ledges, it appears. With certain ledges, and I can show this off later as well, just out of curiosity if somebody wants to mess around with it, you can do that same Ledgefly with doing the inputs of a Cloak Dash, which we're going to go over next, first. And so what that'll effectively do, is my understanding, is that you'll start the Cloak Dash, and then you'll get close enough to the ledge during that weird physics moment when the cloak is still forced on equipping, that you'll start a Ledgefly, so you'll maintain your low gravity, and that's useful for 2 places in Hundo, and all bosses, there's 1 place for it. So it's a little weird. I don't particularly know why it works like that, but here we are. So Cloak Dash. So the Cloak Dash is going to be, you have to have a speed potion enabled if you want considerable distance with this. Otherwise, you're going to go kind of like not very far. In fact, I can show that off now. And you're going to want low gravity for this. The gravity is a huge part of Cloak Dash distance. Same with Megajumps, which we'll get to next. So we're going to do the inputs of holding L2 and R1, and I'm going to show it off without a Meerca speed potion first. And then we're going to force unequip the cloak, hold forward, and then hold X. And so we'll get that kind of small jump there. And so that was with low gravity, which you can get by... I should go over this first, but you can get low gravity in a number of ways. So number one, we have high gravity now. If we were to grab a ledge and climb up, we're going to stay at that 0.3 gravity. If we were to... Let me get up here first. If we were to take a longer fall, your gravity is going to go from 1 when you're on the ground to 0.3 when you're in the air to 0.35 when you've been in the air for long enough to kind of slowly speed up your downwards acceleration. So if you watch the GRV value, you'll see it swap to 0.5 there. So 3.5 is... Usually it doesn't matter. As far as I know, we don't have anything that matters between the two, but it will technically change your angle a little bit for certain things and could affect your Megajumps and your Cloak Dashes a little bit. But just real quick, let's say I do a Cloak Dash with high gravity. You're not going to go pretty much anywhere. It's not going to be really worth your time. So the way we're almost always going to want to do a Cloak Dash is with the speed potion enabled and do the L2 R1, force unequip, forward, and then X when it goes white. And so you'll get that. And still go a good chunk of distance. And Jaxler has at least a few glitch showcases here and there showing off that you can chain Cloak Dashes together. I'm really bad at that. We don't currently have anywhere that we could use it that would actually save enough time for us to... It takes a while to build up the speed and all the animations of unequipping and re-equipping the cloak and all of that. We don't have anywhere we can use it now, but that doesn't mean somebody can't find one. So Cloak Dashes, there's not a whole lot of them in the run, but they're nice. They cut out some Ledgeflies or some Megajumps in certain places, and I can go over some places where you can do alternate Megajumps or Ledgeflies instead if you would prefer to do that rather than Cloak Dashes. As for Megajumps, your gravity is the only thing that matters. You can have speed, you cannot have speed, it doesn't matter. So we just put on the cloak, and we're going to do the first inputs of a Cloak Dash, except when we hit X to jump, you're going to hit X, and just barely after, you're going to hit select to open the pause menu. So this pause menu. And so that's going to look like this when the screen goes white. And so you'll know you did it right if you hear Tor jump. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to keep holding L2, R1, and forward. And we're going to hit triangle or select, whichever you prefer, to close this menu, and we're going to spam X to get a second jump before Tor can technically leave the ground. And so that'll look like that. We're getting way more height than we're supposed to get. Let me get low gravity again. And so Megajumps we use in a number of places to get just out of bounds in general. Having a Meerca speed potion is not going to change the length of your Megajump. The only thing that really matters is your gravity and your positioning. And so again, let's see. I shouldn't be able to jump on top of this red block. No. So if I were to grab low gravity, come back over here. By the way, if you have low gravity and you hold L2 while you're walking off of something, you will maintain your low gravity. If you let go of L2, so I'll give you an example. So if you either jump and land on the ground, you'll lose low gravity. Or if I have it like this and I go off with L2 and then I let go before I hit the ground, I'll lose the low gravity again. Same applies with like if I were to just let the auto jump hit me. So you want to make sure that if you need to have low gravity and you know you've gotten it, which there's a few places we'll go over, that you're holding L2 over ledges to make sure that you maintain your low gravity. But we can't grab this red ledge like normal. So if I were to do a mega jump from here, we can land, in fact, behind it now. So it's a pretty significant height boost. One thing I've learned recently, it's a little hard to do on files without health upgrades. But if you can line up a certain height with, if you can kind of see that my health bar is kind of bisecting. Let me pull up OBS real quick. So right here, I guess, right, so this diagonal line right here. Is there an easy way I can turn this? Let me just make another real quick. Just 1 second. Underscore. Okay, there we go. We have the underscore here. So this ledge right here. What I want to look at is in certain places, when the camera is on Tor's level, so if you hit R3, it'll center it to the exact same spot behind Tor and with the same, like, Y elevation of the camera every time. If my health bar is sitting bisecting this line right here, I know that I can aim at that ledge and grab it. So the way that I'll line that up is I'll be looking at this ledge, and assuming I'm not dumb... Okay. It is also a distance thing, so that would have been the right height to grab that. So I believe if I grab low gravity here real quick. So this ledge should be a little high for this, but we're going to try anyway. It might still grab. Yeah. Or sorry, we're a little close is what I meant to say. So if you're the right distance away, which takes some getting used to, this is a good distance. I don't really know how to explain it, but like you kind of get a feel for how close the object is to you after a time. But if you can see the object bisecting your health bar, like right here, you can just do a mega jump from this position and you will grab this ledge. If you were to go a little bit closer, or sorry, a little further away, it's possible, depending on the ledge, that you can land directly on it like that. It doesn't seem to always happen like that, but it really depends. I keep forgetting to go back to it, but the ways we can have low gravity. So, interesting. So, obviously we can grab ledges. I'm going to turn down the music just a slight bit. Sorry. Okay. So we can grab ledges to get low gravity. One thing to note is if the game auto jumps for you to grab a ledge like that, it is not going to give you low gravity. But if you jump and grab the same ledge, it will give you low gravity. Even if that jump is something like, I gotta do it right, like that, it will give you low gravity. So you have to be really vigilant about that sometimes. So we can do that. Do these have collision? Not the collision I want. That also doesn't have the collision I want. I'll find something to demonstrate this later, but if you interrupt a slash or a jump attack with Tor onto something where he bounces off of it, which I don't know if anything over here was going to have that, but we can find out. That will give you low gravity. It kind of looks like nothing here is going to have that collision. Oh, there you go. Okay. So here we have high gravity now. So if I jump and slash attack, he'll bounce off of it, and that's the key to know that you'll have low gravity. Roberta is a little different, so her ledge grabs are the same. So like if you jump up onto a ledge like this and have her grab it, she's always going to get the low gravity. With her attacks, which I'm going to show this off later, if you were to say time it where she jumps and right before she hits the ground she attacks like that almost, like you can kind of see when I'm timing it with Tor, but I'll show it again later. You can get her to kind of like do the attack as if she were midair right before she hits the ground, and you'll know if it worked when her like feet don't hit the ground flat, but she's doing her like her left foot forward, her right foot angled back kind of stance when she's doing a air attack as she's touching the ground. You'll know that you got the low gravity. Let me think. There is... So we've done Ledgeflies, kind of. Cloak Dashes, Megajumps. Another thing you'll want to know about tech is obviously doing your 3-hit combos as normal. If we have a shield, I'll just give myself the wooden shield. So obviously L1 is doing a bit of blocking. If you pay attention ever so slightly, after the 3rd attack starts, I'll start holding L1 until Tor puts the shield up, and so I can attack much faster than if you normally just did this. And so that's shield canceling. And the reason that's important is we can, on most enemies, for example, Ixie Chieftain 2, when we go get the cloak, we can do this on. You can go and do these shield cancel attacks, and when you start this 4th attack before the 2nd set of 3-hit combos starts, you can sometimes get a 4th, like, kind of ghost hit on him, where you'll do a 4th tick of damage without doing a 4th attack, if that makes sense. This will also happen if we freeze the brutes in the Gauntlet in Act 3, for example, where we can do shield canceling on them, and we'll get a 4th hit on them for free, basically, just by speeding up our attacks a little bit. And that'll take some time to get used to. I should be able to go show that a little bit in 94, hopefully. I'm going to give myself a water emote. I'm also going to turn it up a little bit. It's a little low. I turned it down a little bit too much. My fault. Okay. Water emote. Okay. Water emote equipped. I'm gonna walk around here until I find the NPCs. Those are more NPCs. Those are more NPCs. Okay, here we go. I don't know if it's gonna work on these, but we're gonna try. He died too fast. Those are gonna die too fast. This should be fine. So if we pay attention to this big guy. Okay. It depends on the hitbox, which you'll kind of get a feel for that. I know it works on these Dark Knights. Because we can do this in Act 3 and all bosses and Hundo. So if I were to freeze him, and I go up and do shield cancels, you can hear the 4th hit. It's a little bit weird to get the hang of at first. Get myself starry eggs real quick. Those are starry eggs. I meant to give myself striped eggs. Freeze them real quick and do it again. So that 4th hit. If you want to practice that, I would recommend coming to Debug 94 and freezing the knights over and over again and practicing it. It's not too hard to get the hang of. You just kind of have to do it first, kind of thing. Let's see. Aside from shield canceling, we also have the dash attack, which a lot of people don't know exists because the game cut the content teaching us how to do it. So I personally like to hold L2 when I do it, and I just hold R1 most of the time out of habit. And so you're going to flick the stick back, and you're going to flick it forward again, and then you're going to attack. It seems to work a little bit better if you delay the attack, so not like trying to time it exactly when you do it forward, but like just ever so slightly past that time. And so you'll do this weird thrust attack. We use that, I believe, only once in Yes Cloak. But I know we can use it twice in No Cloak, and probably more, now that I'm thinking about it. But we can use it to skip the entirety of the escape sequence in Act 1. Let me go over in my head real quick to make sure we did everything. I'm not scripting this at all. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm completely rolling this off the cuff as we go. So bear with me with whatever happens. Another thing we're going to hit later is speed clipping, which we can go in. I'll have to show you an example of that to kind of explain it a little better, and it depends on what we're doing it on. There's two main types that we do in Yes Cloak. So we have like regular wall speed clips, which we do with the trees. Technically, it's different than a regular wall-to-wall speed clip, but it feels kind of the same. Where we'll kind of run into this really sharp angled 2 pieces of collision and then flick to the wall that we want to apologies, flick to the wall we want to go through, and then we can jump through it once we're like in position to jump through it. And then we have plant pot or like circular collision things. So like the plant pots in the 3rd floor Meridell Castle, or the plant pot for the Act 2 Jordana Out of Bounds, or JOOB as we've been calling it. Where you can wrap around the object if you were to go straight. So instead you kind of have to like turn into the object to get behind it. It's like between it and the wall, and then turn towards the wall, and you'll be halfway through the wall anyway at that point. It sounds weird. It'll make more sense when you can see it. But I'm going to go ahead and just restart here like nothing ever happened. I'm going to try to remember to link important things like Dish's tutorial for all bosses, specifically the first video here, because he goes over the 3 different like primary routes you can do to enter Meridell. The one I'm going to be showing is 100% consistent. It's Meridell or Shadowglen with Meerca Speed Potion to Meridell route. The reason we grab the Meerca Speed Potion is because it makes it about 20 seconds or so faster. I think it's about 20 seconds. You don't have to, and I can point out where you would deviate if you didn't want to pick up the Speed Potion. But I would highly recommend just learning it with the Speed Potion. It'll make your life a little bit easier in the future. So we would normally start when you hit New Game, but because we have the debug menu, we would hit it here if you wanted to time this. And most people that are probably going to be watching this have already at least messed around with this out of bounds. We're going to run right past Lucy. Ignore me menuing here. I casually menu. And so we're just going to do that jump. And so I'll explain that a little more. So the thing that I look for is I should make this bigger on my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay. So there's this little seam right here. You can see it a little better now. Right here between the plane that Tor is standing on and this plane up here. And so along this seam, sometimes you'll get an auto jump, sometimes not. The big thing is that you come to the other side of this, and then you're going to turn around. So if you get the auto jump, you're going to run up to it, turn around, and do that. But the big thing is you want to come to this side of the seam. And so I'm looking, that's not the right thing. I'm looking right here. So if you follow the line, if you follow this edge, this kind of slowly slopes down to kind of match with the terrain along here, whereas this is sloping down while Tor would be walking down, this is sloping down to keep it more or less an even height. So if we're on the opposite side of this little lip of collision here, we can actually run straight at this edge, and right when you touch the lip of this collision, you can jump and then just barely ledge grab this ledge. And it takes some getting used to, so don't feel bad if you don't. But you run basically straight at that corner and then just turn towards it. So like stuff will happen like that. You can be pretty close to the wall, you can be fairly far from the wall and still get it. Sometimes it's lenient, sometimes it's not. It really depends on the day, honestly. Like, sometimes I just can't get it at all. Everybody does it differently, as far as I understand, with, like, if you're going to do the run-up, how I do it, I literally just decide to turn around at some point. I like to get this auto jump here, but it doesn't always happen. I know watching Shy, she tends to run from the corral and turn the camera this way and then do something like this or something. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But the big thing is that you find a way to grab this ledge. It's not super difficult. You just kind of got to play with it until you get a feel for cutting the left stick to the left to grab this wall. And so what we're going to do from here is we're going to walk between these trees. And so there's this little skybox wall is what I'm going to call it. It's not really, but kind of. And so there's all these textures, like there's a line here, here. I kind of aim. There's this darker section on this one right here. So this darker section right here, I aim about at that. So just like that. And so I'm going to hold L2 because the collision stops at some point here. And so if we're not holding L2, we're going to go into a free fall, which means you're not moving forward or backwards. You're going straight down, and it's much slower, as you can imagine. So you're losing distance that you could be having. So what happens when we go out of bounds here is we're going to fall into the y=0 plane. I'm not the person to ask for why this happens or why this works. I just play the goddamn game. I'm going to be real with you. So there's a few things to note here. So one, this triangle right here, don't touch it. That will load in the Merry Acre farms, so like the farm roads, and that will more or less ruin everything. Like you could transition routes to one of the other routes if you wanted to, but you're so early in, you might as well reset at this point. In order to do that, I look at this little tree. So this tree right here that I'm following with the circle. This left side near the roots, it's probably a little bit easier to see on your own screen, like on your own game as opposed to on the video. But this little root where it kind of divots down, I aim just at that because it'll put me far enough left that I'm going to avoid that green triangle of death. But I'm not going so far out that I'm going to waste a bunch of time having to walk super far to the left and then super far to the right and lose kind of optimal angle distance. You can go as far left as you want. It doesn't matter. As long as you get through this part, you're good. So I just like to run just about here, basically straight under the left side of this tree. And you can look up here if you want to. I typically don't. But just to give you a little bit of reference, this like semicircle plane here, way up in the sky, that one doesn't have collision. This green triangle here does. This green plane here, which I think stops about here-ish, also has collision. As well as this one way out here that we're going to walk by later. Those you want to make sure you avoid. If you line it up how I do it, I haven't had troubles. If you get anxious, you can always sidestep a little bit and keep going. But again, as long as you get past this, it's fine. What we're aiming for in the distance is this way back here. So these mountains, these cliffs, whatever, you're going to want to go here. More specifically, I'm aiming right about here-ish. And the reason I'm doing that is we're going to go past that. If you can see it, there's this along the top of the eye here. There's this bit of green texture. And where it cuts off, that is the edge of that like texture plane. We're going to walk around it to go get the Meerca speed potion at the end of Merry Acre Farms before we go to Shadowglen. And so we're just going to run straight for that. And so once you're past all these green plains, so this one right here just above Tor's head, that's the last one you have to worry about. Nothing else here is going to load anything as far as I know, but you know, running forward isn't going to hurt. Since you have time here, I like to go ahead and mote to the leaf mote position, so this one down here, since we're going to be using that for Ixie Chieftain. It'll just make things a little bit simpler in the future. You don't have to think about it during denser areas. Okay, so we're coming here. So if you didn't want to do the Meerca speed potion route, you would upwarp onto this green plane right here. And what this would do is this would load in the backside of Merry Acre Farms going towards Meridell Outskirts. So like where Prince Torrent's carriage is. And so if you upwarp here, you would then turn 90 degrees to the left. You would walk, you would walk forward, and then you would upwarp on another thing to load the actual Meridell Outskirts. And then you would keep going to Shadowglen, and we'll pick up there together if you wanted to do that. If not, avoid that plane. Go to the left of it. It's this corner right here is the last corner to have collision. It's kind of obscured by the like wall texture there. But as long as you steer enough clear of it, you'll be okay. None of this here has collision. But don't just cut super far in after it, because there's a little bit of a crescent. So I'm watching it, I'm past it, so I'm going to start slowly turning. And it's a little bit hidden, so I'm going to come a little far out just to show. That's good. So I took it further than I normally would. But this little crescent shape right here, all of this has collision. We want to go around this because we're aiming for this plane right here. So this rock, the one that this is bisecting right here, this is what we're aiming for. And so this will put us directly behind where the Meerca speed potion is. So if we just come right here, I like to hold L2, not that it matters, and we'll upwarp right here, and we'll hit a little loading trigger. Here we are. If you come to the left side of this little dome almost, and just walk right into it, you'll pick up the speed potion. I like to hold L2 and then walk straight back out. If it's being mean to you, try to jump out more towards the rock. Most of the time, if you just go in, close the text box, and then walk directly back out, holding L2, you'll be fine. Very infrequently can the game get you stuck back inbounds there, and you'll just have to reset. Not super, super bad. But once we're here, we have the speed potion. We're not going to pop it yet. What I like to do, which is following Disha's tutorial still, is this bit of the mountain that's kind of bulging down here, I aim anywhere roughly around that. And so I hold R1 and L2 and just go straight forward. And we're going to drop off the ledge, and we're going to not adjust the camera. We're going to hit this invisible wall. If you don't jump over it immediately, the game's going to be mean to you, so I'm going to walk back a little bit. And so what you would do is you would walk straight off. If you have low gravity, you're going to hit the invisible wall almost immediately when you hit the ground. If you have high gravity, you're going to walk a little bit before you hit it. But you're just going to jump straight over it and then keep walking for about a second. Or maybe half a second. So you're going to be past the invisible wall now. And so we're going to turn. And here we have, yet again, another crescent shape kind of wall texture. There is a loading plane that is just in front of this that is going to load the Meridell Outskirts. We need to be on a certain side of it to make sure that we don't go inbounds because of the way that the Meridell Outskirts is shaped, with it being all curved. So what I like to do is, I don't know if this is going to show up on a video, but I'll do my best. There's this small black or like dark gray vein through the mountain here. I look roundabout at that. If you can't see that, there is this lighter gray vein directly to the right of it. You can aim somewhere around there. And so I aim, so more or less the tuft on Tor's hair is between those two. Another way you can think about it is you can just line up with the edge of this plane. So if you want to see the tuft of Tor's hair against the corner of this plane before it starts curving back in. And so we're going to run forward, and we're eventually going to see the camera kind of shift to the right, because if you're holding L2 while doing this, Tor is going to get shifted to the right by an invisible wall. It's exactly what we want. And so we're going to get shifted by the wall, and we're going to stop as soon as that happens. I was too far to the left, or sorry, too far to the right, so I'm going to back up a little bit. If that happens, just go straight back. Don't mess with anything. I'm just jumping because I'm bored. So I'm going to turn a little bit more to the left. And this is why I tend to like to look at this vein, but it's really hard to see sometimes. I guess another good visual is if you're looking at Tor's right ear, it's over top of that gray vein a little bit. And we're going to run straight forward until we hit it again. I might be too far to the right. If you go too far right on your initial movement off of the platform, off of here, you might not get the exact movement you're used to. So I'm going to go back up here just to be safe if I can, if the game will let me. No, the game won't let me. Okay, we're going to impromptu from this. Regardless, I'm going to look at this kind of black vein. I'm going to run straight forward. There you go. So you got the nudge there. You might want to play that back a little slower just to see it. I know Shy does it, or at least I have seen her do it, or I've done it as a backup at the very least, where you'll run past it. You'll kind of get the feeling you've probably run past it like we did before, not getting the exact area we're looking for and not getting the bump. That's how I look for it, at least. And so you'll turn 90 degrees to the left, and if you ran past it, you can hold left until you start hitting the invisible wall we just bumped, and start holding back left with L2. And you'll eventually hit the loading trigger. If you bump off the wall, like we're intending to do, and I don't know if waiting there causes it to mess with things or not. I don't think it does, but I never know. I've never messed with it before. we're going to turn 90 degrees to the left, and there's these cones. So there's this one here, and there's this one that's kind of obscured by these front two. I aim roundabout at this one that the circle is in fully encompassing. And what we're doing is we're going to run straight forward to it, and the world is going to kind of deload. And so that means we're loading in the Meridell outskirts. And so you're going to hold forward. If you feel a little bit unsafe about it, or if you want to feel safer about it, you can hold forward left, and you can just guarantee you're going to go inbounds there. So you're going to get pushed along the invisible wall, and we're going to load into here. This is good. This is great. This is exactly what we want. If you were to go inbounds here, you would be just inbounds in Meridell outskirts, which you can either reset at this point, or you can choose to go into like a hybrid route with preying on the money in the bandit cave and getting the golden rose for Torrent to maybe buy the squire sword in Meridell, but I genuinely wouldn't bother. It's entirely up to you though. So there's going to be a little invisible wall in front of us. I shouldn't be moving forward. There's a little invisible wall in front of us, and we're going to jump right over it. Just like that. It'll be good. And so what we're doing is I'm just turning to show you now. Over here, this like really dark green stuff, that's Shadowglen. So we're going to walk straight off of this ledge and then turn to the right. And so right now, after we jump over that invisible wall, we'll be popping a speed potion. I'm going to pop it now, and I'll give myself more later if we want. And so what we're looking for is this water plane right here. The water will not interact with you here, but I like to aim, just to give myself a good visual, just at the corner of this water, because you have the plane that we can see, and then the one just behind it coming kind of like at it in this direction. We have this one going this direction. Just this corner here. I aim for that. We're going to run straight towards that corner, more or less. And then once we're past it, we're going to turn a little bit more right, and we're going to aim... I aim just to the left of this water corner here. And this is going to be facing us towards this kind of idol statue looking thing. Like, it kind of looks like a Moai statue a little bit, but this whole thing right here. And so there's this little green triangle of collision. If you want to be safe, aim a little bit to the right of it, but regardless, we're aiming for this triangle of collision to upwarp onto, and that'll load the rest of Shadowglen. Normally we'd have our speed potion here. There's going to be a little invisible wall there. Let me go back. I can't go back. There's going to be an invisible wall there that you'll hit. You'll just have to jump over it. But regardless, you'll run right towards this. You'll upwarp onto this plane. Perfect. We've loaded Shadowglen. As soon as you upwarp onto this, you can jump right off of it. I like to make sure that I'm facing towards that idle thing and jump left. But regardless, as long as you don't jump forward into bounds, you'll be okay. So we just turned 90 degrees to the left after jumping off of it. And what I like to do is there's two planes here. So there's this one here. And there's this one that kind of runs, the edge of it runs like that. Right at this intersection of these two planes is where I like to look. So right here, if I move the other two pieces away, right there, that's where I'm aiming. That's where I like to run. It's okay if you upwarp onto this collision right here, like I'm probably going to this time. But as long as you have a place to look and know that you're facing the correct direction, you're fine. So we're going to run. I upwarped on the collision here, that's fine. If not, you would come to about here, so the water is about maybe an inch from the top of your screen. And you're going to turn to the right, about 90 degrees-ish. Maybe like 60. So there's a few things that I'm looking for. I'm turning the camera just a little bit more so you can see. So there's this gap between the rocks. That's exactly where we want to run. If you don't see this gap, it's likely that you're more to the side, in which case I look for this right here. It kind of looks like a tree. It's probably just collision, but whatever this stick-like thing is, it's just to the right of this cluster of rocks. I look for that, and I run towards that until I see this gap in the rocks here. So if I run like this for just a little bit, I'll see that gap form between the rocks again. So right here, this is what I want to run at. And so we're going to run directly at the gap in the rocks. You'll end up budging against an invisible wall for a little bit, depending on how far to the right you are and how big of a gap there is. And eventually, you're going to let it push you to the left, and you're going to upwarp onto some rocks, or onto some plane here. So just like that. If you were to drop off of it for some reason, like here, don't go forward more or you'll drown in this water. Just come back to the right. Sometimes it's being a little difficult, and you can just do that. Just play with it until you're up here. So this puts us in the back of Shadowglen. So we've just upwarped here, and there's this tree stump and this rock. We're going to run right in between it, and we're going to jump through this wall. We're going to keep running forward directly past this tree. And then down here is the Arbendis flower. I'm pausing here so I don't get mauled by the plant. The thing that I look for to line myself up is this tree piece right here. The thing, actually, I guess I can do this. Hold on. If you're on Digi, by the way, you can hit space and it'll pause it so long as it's selected. So I can do this. So this tree right here. I don't really have an exact measurement, but a little bit to the left of it. If you have a speed potion, you can run straight off with L2 and you'll be okay. If your speed potion is run out at this point, when you get to the edge of this ledge, jump. It doesn't matter if you have L2 jump, it doesn't matter if you regular jump. As long as you jump at the end of this, you'll land on the circular platform below you with the Bagus plants on it. From that point, we're just going to jump straight across, and we're going to grab the Arbendis flower. So we'll do that now. I'm just going to run like that. Jump straight across. I'm going to pause here again, just so I don't get poisoned. When we're going into a automatic dialogue thing, so whether that's picking up an item that's on the ground, if that's walking into automatic NPC text, like entering Meridell for the first time and chasing the Meerca brothers, or talking to Seredar, the old lady, and whatever the Kachik is in Act 2, something like that, walking into that automatic dialogue, we can open either the Motes menu or the consumable menu and hold square. And what that'll do is it'll force a text skip, where the game will just do something weird and instantaneously skip all the text, basically. So we're just going to do that. The more times you can do it, the better, but it's not going to hurt if you don't do it. It's going to save you from mashing a little bit. From here, we're just going to turn right here towards this plank. We're going to jump up on the plank. If you don't get the ledge grab, that's fine. You should be a little bit more careful. If you want to guarantee to make this like you're never going to fall in the water, just get the grab like that. Make sure you jump into it and the game doesn't jump onto it like that, but manually jump onto it like that. Regardless, you're going to run off this plank. If I have low gravity, you can normally just run about here with the speed potion, assuming it's still active, and you'll make it. Otherwise, you can run off of it and jump if you don't have a speed potion. What you want to avoid is hitting this light mode up here. It doesn't particularly matter. We're going to need it anyway, but Roberta has one in her way later in Act 2, so we can just skip it now. If you don't have if you have high gravity, so if you don't have low gravity, I typically aim just to the right of the light moat. Sometimes you'll grab it, sometimes you won't. You just really want to avoid falling in the water, because it's slow. If your speed potion is run out by time you get down and grab the Arbendis flower, technically it's faster for you to jump in the water and just respawn right here. Regardless, once you're here, you're going to run straight out of Shadowglen, just like normal. That is a really dense section, and Disha's tutorial goes much more in-depth and is much more comprehensive than mine is going to be on this section. Again, feel free to ask questions in the Neopets Discord. Join the Neopets Discord if you're not in it. We're great. We love people. As we run up to the end of Shadowglen here, one thing we're going to want to do is right as we enter this, the circle of this cave here, the mouth of the cave. I picked up the wrong thing, but it's fine. Let me do this real quick. Make my life easier. There we go. We want to jump into this cutscene. You don't have to do a tech skip. I do the tech skip, but you have to jump into it to get low gravity. The reason being, we need coyote frames for this next trick. Well, you don't need coyote frames. You can use coyote frames. That's the way I prefer to do it. I'll try to show both ways. But you'll jump into it, you'll get low gravity. Tor's going to automatically walk here. And so there's a trick we can do here called L2 jumping, which is basically you're going to walk off the edge holding L2 and R1. You're going to let go of L2, and a frame later you're going to hit jump. And that'll give you the low gravity effect of having an L2 jump. Because if you were to jump holding L2 and have low gravity, you're going to jump a little bit higher than if you had high gravity. Don't ask me. So we can get that distance, that extra distance, and just barely land on the lily pad. I saw something apparently a long time ago that I found out recently that Keiko posted, that you can just run up here and apparently just do an L2 jump like straight, so like run off a little bit and then just jump like that and land it. I'm bad at it. I'm sure I'm just going too early, but regardless, let's say you failed the jump, which I'll go over more times. So you spawn here. If you walk up to this ledge and you just jump into it to grab low gravity, you're fine. You just come right over here to the right, line yourself up again. If you want to do a lineup, it's best to line yourself up with this little tip of the lily pad. It's the closest to you. It makes sense. So we have low gravity. We're going to walk off. I did that bad. That's what happens if you don't let go of L2 fast enough. That's okay. But jump, hit the lily pad, and there's two things you can do there. Automatically, because I built it into my brain, I jump off the lily pad to the right side of this platform and grab this ledge here. It's because we're going to need to do another L2 jump. You don't have to do it like that. You can just land straight on this platform, just like this, and then jump off and grab low gravity again. That is no problem. You can just do it like that. So you can do the same thing here. The problem with this L2 jump is that if you hit the very edge of the water and slide out of the water plane itself, you'll get a game over. It sucks. It can kill runs. At least it's only like 3-4 minutes in max. I know doing the regular whole L2 the whole time jump has been a little bit more consistent with some people. I still like to do that jump. I'm gonna see if I can. No, I can't. It's gonna take some practice to get that back to back. That's okay. It's gonna kill runs here and there. It happens to everybody still. It's never not gonna happen unless we change the route. It's just something you gotta kind of rep out until you can get a feel for it. Once we've jumped down, we have to make sure we get up on a certain piece of collision. Let me take a sip of water here. We have to get on those certain piece of collision so we can go over to the opposite side of Meridell Outskirts and get back inbounds right in front of Meridell. There's a few things here. So you have this bulging plane, you have this bulging plane here. Right here, it might be a little hard to see, but there's this plane. I'll try to follow it with the top of the eye here. Follows down and down and down and down, and then it kind of flattens out here, and then it has this curve, and then you can kind of see it curve behind itself there. I am at just the edge of it, so like right there-ish, just to the left of the eye, right there. That's about where I aim. And so I run straight at that. And like quite literally just straight at it until I upwarp. So we're right here. This is great. This is exactly what we want. We're going to run through this wall. We're going to be here. We're going to run straight through this wall again. So you're just going to run straight through 2 walls. But if you wanted to see bearings, there you go. This gap right here, you have to jump over. I have done it once where I have fallen in it, not realizing that you had to jump over it like 100%. You'll be soft locked. So you can either go around it like that. Oh, like that. Just run right around it because you can just walk through this wall. Or you can jump over it. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel comfortable with. We're going to run through this little like step thing here. You're going to run through this next wall. We're going to be here. So the thing that I, look for to see if I'm running in the optimal line, more or less, is this lighter texture on this piece of wall here. Right here. I run right through that, and I only line it up because it's like semi-optimal, but you'll jump right through it. And if I was, better at the game, you would land right in front of the trees. As long as you're somewhere in this small plain area here, you're okay. You can jump through any part of this wall. It doesn't matter. We're going to run right through this gap in the trees. We're going to turn left. Another thing we can do, with moats at least, if you jump into them, you can skip the pickup dialogue. It's faster than having to sit there even if we do the text skip, because we have to sit through the actual animation of picking it up. So anytime we can jump into a moat to pick something up, we're going to. And so that's the leaf moat we're going to need for later in the run. So here we're going to run over to Meridell, and we're going to open the consumable menu and hold square, and we're just going to enter Meridell just to have the text skip. And don't let go of square for any of this. The entire cutscene holds square. If you let go of it at any point, it will cancel the trick, and you'll have to mash the rest of the text, if not all of the text. Here is a great time. Take some water, take a bite of a snack or something. It's about a 20-second cutscene. You got time. You can relax a little bit. If there's anything you guys want me to hit on more specifically, I'm more than happy to do. If you want somebody else to do it, that's also fine. I'm not going to be offended. Just say something. Ask for help. We love this. This game is great. We want more people to play it. Also, obligatory run hundo. Okay. So, we're going to do the Meerca chase like normal. But, there's one thing we can do with NPCs. Apologies. If we were to come across an NPC, then we can do a text box jump, which sounds strange. We didn't get lucky here. So normally, right here at this house, I'm pausing here to not mess up the cycles of the NPCs later. You can get 2 spawns, or there's 3 different spawns you can get. You can either get none of the kid spawns here, and Master Grith, or as we call him, Mr. Girth, there in the background to spawn. You can have the 2 kids, so the baby Loop and the baby Akara, to spawn here. Or you can have the baby Tico, Sammy, who says we smell like Winnies, to spawn here. Regardless, the same principle for the text box jump exists. We're going to run through, we're going to do this like normal. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come right up. And so while we're running, we're going to run straight up to this NPC, we're going to hold L2, we're going to jump, and while we're in midair, we're going to open their dialogue, we're going to close their dialogue by spamming square, still holding L2 and R1, and forward. And when we're out of their dialogue, we're going to stack our speed through some momentum preservation nonsense. Shortly after we hit the ground, we can jump, not so soon after the text box, because you'll cancel your speed, but a little bit after you hit the ground, you can jump to maintain that speed for a little bit longer and save a little bit more time. I'll see if I can do that off the pause. Have it not be weird. There we go. It'll look like that. And so if you're watching the speed value, I'll just show it off another time here. So Tor runs at 9.64, he jumps at 9.0. Doing the text box, we get up to 18 point something, and then when we jump after hitting the text box, we go up to 15 point something. So it's a pretty significant jump in speed. And it depends on when you jump as to how fast you go after the jump. It's not a big deal if you don't do them. They're micro time save. They're more fun than anything, to be honest with you. It's not a big deal. So here, we're just going to end the Meerca chase like normal, and we're going to spam back through this cutscene. Here, we're going to turn around. We're going to hug right, and we're going to go directly to Angus's shop. And this is because we picked up the Arbendis flower. What's important here is, A, Angus is hard to talk to. Sometimes you just have to like hold forward and square. You're going to go through his first text boxes. And then he's going to have a second set of text boxes to turn in the quest, because the first ones were to get the quest. You're going to talk to him for 3 text boxes, the third one being the money, and talk to nobody else for a while. We're going to come over here and we're going to buy this speed potion. That's because we've already picked one up. as well as the text being short enough for us not ruining the money glitch. I'm going to try and remember to link Monster's video for explaining the text glitch, because I'm going to do a horrible job. Effectively, it's a rounding issue. But we're going to pick up the speed potion, we're going to leave. Ideally, we would pop it here, so I'm going to pop it as if we were doing it normally. It's not a big deal if you don't. But regardless, it's going to make this movement faster. So we're going to talk to nobody in Meridell at all until we come across Guardsman Ulfric, which is this black drake in front of, what is her name? Why can't I remember her name? Oh, dear God. I'll think of her name in a minute. Regardless, what we're going to do here, there's no reason for me to pause. We're going to hold X. So either you can do that when you jump, or you can do it when you open the first text box. But you're going to hold X the whole time. And we're going to let Ulfric's first dialogue box scroll the whole way. So I'm going to hold X. We're going to let it scroll. And that's going to give us 500 Neo points. The next two text boxes don't matter. We can spam through those. And we're going to come back to the first one. We're going to do it again. The minimum you need, so what World Record does, is having 9,000 Neo points. For first couple runs, it's not going to hurt you to have like 12, 15, something like that. It's okay to have extra. You can always cut them later. So we would just do this duping over and over again. We're going to get the Ulfric moaning like normal. And so forth. So we would do that until we have 9,000. You can see them in the bottom left there. For the sake of me not having to do it and listen to him moan, I'm just going to set this to 93,000. If you have the hack menu, you can edit your Neo points, and that'll edit it just like that. Once we've talked to Ulfric, we're going to go directly over to the smithy. We're going to walk in and we're going to buy the Squire Sword and then leave. At this point, it doesn't matter if we've talked to anybody because we're done with the money dupe. So we grab the sword, we're going to run right back outside, and we're going to run directly over to the armory. I feel so bad that I can't remember her name. Inga. Of course it's Inga. We're going to buy the shield. I'm so sorry, Inga. We're going to run right back out, and instead of running all the way back to Angus' shop to buy our potions, we can run directly here to the moat and drown ourselves. And it's because it's always going to spit us regardless of where we are in the game. It's going to spit us in front of the arena. So we're going to come, if you're looking at the arena, you're going to come to the right, and we're just going to run to Angus' shop. And here, I like to go ahead and menu my leaf mote onto my, you don't have to do shield, but at least onto my sword, and then go ahead hover the water mote. Go into Angus' shop, you're going to buy 4 power potions. We're going to use that on Ixie Chieftain, Gnarfas, and that one will get used twice because of what we're about to do, which is Cloak Storage or Clorage. We're going to use one on Melting the Sister's Health in Act 3. We're going to do one on Gauntlet, and we're going to do one on actively killing the sisters with Roberta. So we're going to get 5 uses out of 4 potions. The rest of the money, you can spend it all on Meerca speed potions. I'm just going to buy like 62. However many you have, it's great. So now we're going to pop one here. We're going to run back out. Or sorry, I apologize. We would not pop one there unless you do an extra dupe over what you're intending. And then you can run right back out here. If you didn't pop a potion, you would drown yourself there. If you did, you might as well conserve it. But what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we're going to go to the Meridell Square. And we're going to make a saved game. The reason we're doing this is that Cloak Storage or Clorage works in the way that we can transfer an item from one save into another save that hasn't gotten it. I don't particularly understand how it works. I just kind of did it one day. It's great. There's 2 ways to get to Cogham here. We can go this way, which I'm going to show off first, where once you've made the save game, you leave Meridell, and you cut left to the Draken Ridge entrance. I like to text skip this, it doesn't matter. But there's this invisible wall here. So if you come to this corner, we can do our first speed clip, where you'll run directly in the corner until you get stuck, wiggle a little bit, and once you're in position, so I can see that Tor is not inside the rock, but he's in front of the wall. you can just jump right through the wall there. It takes some getting used to. Speed clips are a little weird. That's okay. If you don't want to do that, it's like maybe 2 seconds faster by my timing or something like that. We can instead... I guess I can do this. I can just show this a little easier. You would make the save like normal. And from that point on, we are going to just run straight forward towards Ulfric, towards Inga, cut to the left here, and then up this pathway. And this will take us to about the same place. It'll be the same path going towards Cogham. If you're taking this path, you can jump right here on this mulch. So you'll run up the mulch, and then you can jump on top of this ledge. So you can skip having to actually do a ledge grab there. It'll look like that. If you don't get it, it's not a big deal. If you don't get the ledge grab skip there, you can do a hold L2 and jump here, and you can get a jump above the ledge if I stand on the rock like that. If you have high gravity, you're not going to get it, at least not consistently. So you can make that, but regardless, you're going to jump up this. You're going to jump on this rock, and you can make that with high gravity, like always, or with low gravity. And we're going to jump up right here. And so this is for the YOLO strat to get into Cogham. So what we're going to do is once you come up on this ledge, you're going to make sure that you jump so you have low gravity. Or sorry, you're going to make sure you jump so you have high gravity. And so we're going to run over. I like to aim somewhere about here is where Tor is running. And I like to aim at this rock more or less. What I look for is this bottom edge of Tor's shield. When there is a 1 space gap just below that is when I'm going to hit circle to try and do the sword slash and jump off the edge. Do not let the game auto jump for you here. Most of the time it won't. Manually jump as close to the edge as you can. So there I was late. That's okay. Most of the time, you're probably not going to hit that, and that's fine. So we're not going to move from this position, and we're going to turn right around. And so right here, where this mulch meets this kind of circular rock, right where they meet, is where I like to aim Tor. And so what we're going to do is you're going to hold R1, and you're going to run forward, and you're going to count about 1 second, and then you're going to pause. Another way, if you don't want to count, you can just look for when Tor's feet hit the bottom of the screen, and then hit select. Specifically select so you can see. That'll look like this. Okay. The great thing about running this game, with the hack menu or without, the H and the R in hack menu or resume game, respectively, if you're running the hack menu or not, are the same height. So there's this line where the mulch is meeting the water here. What I'm looking for is the pause buffer, which is hitting triangle and then shortly after, like very shortly after hitting select, to buffer a select input to go 1 frame forward, is I want the middle or 1 frame after of this H to be bisected by this mulch texture. So we're going to continue holding R2, or sorry, you're going to continue holding R1 and forward, and you're going to hit triangle and then select, just like that. You're going to keep doing that, keep doing that. I dropped the input, which is okay. I'm going to do it again. Okay, so right here, because I have it overlapping with the rock a little bit here, you kind of have to imagine where this plane would be, but it's bisecting the H. If you were to hit circle on this frame, you would hit the trick, you'd be fine. I like to go 1 more frame just to be safe. It's not going to hurt you. With the R, there would be a little bit more above it here, but regardless, you're hitting the top side of that letter. And so you're going to hit triangle and immediately hit circle. And you're going to hit the waterwalk. If you don't hit this, just keep trying with it. You can do it unbuffered. It is frame perfect, so like, don't feel bad if you don't get it. I know Shy does it like that. I know Herv does it like that. I'm stubborn. And if I fail the YOLO, I'm not really going to go for it. Because I already messed it up once. And I know I'm doing it late anyway. So, I'm going to come here. I'm going to do this 1 more time. There we go. And I just did it on the first frame that you can do it on. So you can do it on either one. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. If you want to guarantee you're going to get it, you can go to the second frame just to make sure. From here, we're going to pop a speed potion, and right where the wall here and this mulch are, I run straight through that until I'm inside this mulch, and then I run to the left. And so it might not show up very well on camera, but there's this water plane here along the bottom side of the eye, and along the top side of the eye, there's this water plane. There's a tiny, tiny seam right here where they're just barely two different colors. There's a little corner of collision that you can stand in there. So right about here, where Tor's stuck, you're going to jump out away from the water to avoid the death plane, and you're going to land out in y equals 0. This is great. This is what we want. If you jump just too early, then you can end up game overing by hitting the edge of the water plane and then sliding out of it. If you're kind of stuck on the edge of one water plane, walk away from the edge and then towards where you're trying to go. It kind of grabs you a little bit. It's a little weird. Regardless, right here is the corner of these two water planes. So there's this big one here, and there's one way in the back. This corner of where you can see the sky, that is why run Tora towards. A good safe thing to do, just to guarantee, is to make sure that the water here, so right up here at the top of the screen, fills the entire screen. So I'm going to run a little bit more, like that. So now I know I'm definitely far enough. The reason we're doing that is to skip loading Cogham Village. It's not going to necessarily ruin the trick, but there is a high probability that if you load it and you upwarp onto a certain thing, that it will ruin the trick and you'll be spawned inbounds, and I can go over and show what that will look like to recover that. Regardless, we're going to turn to the left here. And it's a little further than I run, but there's this gap here. So we have this big rock here. We have this big rock here. This gap right here, this is where we're going to run. And so we're going to run for just a little bit. And soon you're going to see these rocks pop in. Right here, here, and here. I like to stare at this rock. And when it just holding R1 and L2, when it goes off the screen, like that, I'll go a little bit further, and you're going to see this giant texture pop in. Like that. So that means we've loaded the correct area. So we're going to turn around, not quite 180. If you cut this too close along this line here, you risk loading in that bad area. So run along the water plane a little bit. I like to aim for this corner here, just for like a second or two. And then you can start turning. You don't have to turn hard, you don't have to turn slow, as long as you're not like completely throwing yourself off. So there's this like cold air intake looking thing. This right side of it, kind of the right side of the eye, you want to go around it. You want to give it about like this eye's width. The reason being is that you don't want to upwarp into that collision, because that will spawn you back inbounds and ruin the trick. And again, we'll go over how to fix that if something like that happens, but you're going to want to go around it. And so you're going to go to the right of it, and we're going to turn kind of around it. I like to hold down on the right stick as close to straight down as you can so you can look up. The camera's a little weird here, so it'll flick you back up and back down and back up, down, whatever. It's okay. It does that. But slowly start turning to the left here. I like to just turn my stick. And so what we're looking for is make sure you're taking a wide berth. There's this kind of ice cream cone. And there's this pillar here, this cliff. There is a little section. Let's see if I can get a better angle on it real quick. Here we go. So there's this section where you can be inside the cliff and on top of this ice cream cone. You want to be inside the cliff and on top of the ice cream cone. You can cut this as sharp as you want, so I could go for it right here and just land in it. You can come all the way behind it if you want, and come straight back and then straight forward, as long as you upwarp here. This is good. What we would want to normally do from here is we're looking for this plane. This tiny one right here. So you're going to step onto it. If you walk too far forward, you're okay. You're not going to go inbounds unless you jump inbounds. But you're going to walk onto this plane and then just hold L2 and run directly to the left. The reason we want to run directly to the left is because those two planes, the one we stepped on and the one we upwarp onto, both load different things. And so stepping onto that secondary one there loaded this little chimney right here. That's the abandoned mines elevator. So if we come right over here, you'll see that it loads in, and we are right here. You need to be careful here. If you go too far to the left, so towards any of this, including while you're still under this black plane here, you can load into a not nice area for the game, and it has a high potential of crashing the game. And if it doesn't do that, you're going to have a really hard time getting into the mines. The safest bet is lining yourself up with this, the support beams and the lantern and whatnot, this entrance to the mines, like this little hallway here. Hold L2 and R1 and run forward. And you're eventually going to hit an invisible wall. And so you're ever going to slowly nudge to the left and then back forward. Just to make sure you don't go too far. And then you'll eventually run through it. That's what we want. And then you can stop. If you're on Digi, we do a thing called Crystal Meth Warp. On console, it's not guaranteed to be faster. We need to figure it out. I don't think it's been officially timed. But what we would do for Digi is we would... Ooh, that's not good. Here we go. So we would come here, we would walk onto this plane that the elevator is on, and you're going to jump off of it. You're going to stand there for about a second or two. And so we're going to run straight into the void here. You can kind of see it, which maybe not. Right here. There's a tiny glittering dot right there in the center of the O. That's a pink crystal in the distance. We're going to go over that in just a second. But let's say we were to do, all of the regular stuff for getting into the mines, and let's say you messed it up. I'm just going to come here real quick, and... Okay, I'm in the mines. I'm going to go up the elevator, and I'm just going to drown. A thing that can happen if you take it too close to the edge, too close to the inside, going towards the mines load, going towards that ice cream cone load, is you can either hit the water here, or you can straight up just kind of come inbounds somewhere around here. And so you'll spawn here. So we're going to look forward towards where that Ixie is. And we're going to run straight forward. We're going to jump up here. He might hit you. It's okay. And jump up here. And we're going to jump up onto this ledge. Here, we're going to jump to cancel our low gravity. We're going to come... Oh, sorry. We're going to come right... Please. Right here. If you hold L2, there's this diagonal line right here. I like to see that it's a little jagged on my screen. I don't know how it's showing on video, but I look for it to be a little jagged and round about a 45-degree angle. You're going to hold L2 and R1. You're going to hold forward, and you're going to get kind of jammed into the wall, and you're eventually going to fall down. And so what's going to happen is you're going to be halfway in the wall, halfway, halfway inbounds, halfway out of bounds. And so that is going to look like this. So I'm kind of in the rock here. Sometimes the camera will do that, and it's mean. So I'm going to jump out to undo that. So once you're in the rock, you're going to just straight jump in the air and then tap towards out of bounds. If you do a moving jump like that, you're very likely to go off the edge and fall into the water down there, and you'll just have to reset the trick again. But do this, run into the wall, jump just like that. And so if the camera's being nice, you can see this. If the camera's not being nice, you'll see this. It'll be flicking in and out of bounds and doing this. It's okay. Apparently turning Tor helps. I didn't know that. But I like to face this rock with Tor. If you back up a little bit, it helps. Face the rock with Tor, have a potion, and hold L2 and left. And you'll just barely miss this water plane here. And so from here, you'll run towards the mines, and we'll do the exact same thing we just did. Wiggle to the left. Okay, here we are. And so we're on this plane here. We want to stand here for about a second. We're going to jump off. The way that I line myself up for this is I look for this edge of this black plane. I look to run just parallel to it. And just in the distance, see, I saw it glitter for a second there. The pink crystal is there. It's at the 0, point of the map. So you're going to have plenty of time to run here. And we're just going to run right at it. I like to hold L2 so I don't have to think about my angling. And here, once you pop a potion, once you're running straight towards this, you can just menu to your power potion. It's fine. You will be just fine. It's like right now, it'll last for the rest of the time until we get there. And so we're going to run straight to this crystal. The reason we run to this crystal is because, for whatever reason, if you jump into the crystal, it will warp you to the boss for some reason, which is a little strange. I'm not going to complain. So, we're going to run here, and what we're going to do is, it's not 100% confirmed why it happens. If the crystal breaks, it will be very bright, lots of flashing lights, like epilepsy warning level. But we're going to aim, I'm going to stop here for just a second. We're going to aim for the left side of this crystal, is what Herv said she found in her testing. We're going to run as close to the crystal as we can, so as close to this collision here, and then jump into the crystal. Before doing that, like right here, you'd want to pop your power potion, and you're going to run right into it, just like that. And so it'll spawn you the Ixie Chieftain. We're going to get back to the Ixie Chieftain in a second. I'm going to teleport us to the beginning of the mines, and I'm going to show the either console route, or if you were to somehow go accidentally inbounds in the mines. Abandoned Mines, 3C. I'm also going to link the spreadsheet that I have in the description. We have it in the Discord listed. It's kind of hard to find some things sometimes. That's okay. Let me get back to the elevator. So if you ever want to load somewhere specific, you'll just have to check the spreadsheet. I went the wrong way, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay. Okay, so here's the elevator. Let's say you either took the elevator because you went in bounds, or you upwarped into the mines like regular. We're just gonna take the regular route through the mines. You don't have to save any of the miners except for Meridell. We're gonna come here. We're gonna run to the right. Okay, and we're gonna run to the left through this hallway. If you're inbounds, you can opt to grab this. No, don't actually. Sorry, if we were doing the old route, yes. Because we do Clorage, don't bother grabbing that smoke mote. I lied. It's not worth your time, because it will get deleted anyway. Continue running through the mines, past it. And we're going to come to this little fork here. You're going to turn left here, and there's going to be 4 railroad tracks. You're going to go to the 4th one and go through the right. So not this one, but this 4th one here. I just like to cut through that. So if you're running, if you're running straight, you have this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here, which we're going to run to the right, so towards the way the trains are coming from. Make sure you don't fall down here into the Draconac pit. And right where this windmill is, we're going to drop off. There's going to be this gap over here near the save point if you can't find it, or across from the pink crystal. And we're going to hug sharp left here, directly after this little mound. We're going to go straight and right through this door. We're going to take a sharp right, hug the wall to avoid waking the Draconax, but it's not a big deal if you don't, and then start hugging the left wall. We're going to come up to the tracks here, and we're going to follow this track until we get to the Ixie Chieftain fight. Be careful of all the lava because it's game over lava, and it's really easy to fall off here. I recommend if you're going to do movement with Speed Potion, just move the camera. Don't move the character, because it's a lot harder to precisely move your character than it is the camera, because you'll be moving at a different speed than normal. So just come along this. You can take it slow if you need to. It's no problem. And you're going to come here. You're going to jump straight out. If you get hit by that, it's okay. As long as you get on the ledge, it's fine. If you get hit too early and you were going for a ledge grab distance, you will probably just fall into the lava and game over. Here we have the Ixie Chieftain, like normal. We're going to pop a power potion just before going in. And I like to tech skip. It doesn't really matter. We're going to come here. We're going to do the fight. And we're going to do those shield cancels like we were talking before. The reason being is that when he enters his second phase around half health, he can be stun locked super easily to the point where we can get 4th hits and he doesn't even do anything. Just like that. Don't worry about me opening the consumable menu. I made that habit for some reason. You don't need to do that. It's not a big deal. Actually, it doesn't do anything, so don't worry about it at all. So we've killed the Ixie Chieftain. These platforms are also notoriously bad. Specifically, the edges. So a lot of the times, the auto jumps on, say, this ledge, or the ledge grabs, like here, or on this one, don't work. So if you feel more comfortable, don't pop a speed potion. And jump early. Do not rely on ledge grabs, except for this one over here that you have to ledge grab. So jump early. Same with this one, jump early. If you saw there where Tor was kind of extended and floating a little bit, the collision is a little weird sometimes based on where you jump on that first platform. Just kind of wiggle the stick away from the edge a little bit and then let go, and he'll eventually drop down onto the platform. We can rely on this ledge grab only. This next ledge is especially bad. Make sure you don't get hit by the fireball there. And then this one, and I didn't do it fast enough, but you would want to tech skip Meridell's text here. Just to make it faster, just to save your hands, whatever. And so we're just going to spam through this real quick. And that's the end of the mine section. That is the first really scary part of this run done. So now, unlike the old routes where we go grab the supernova and whatnot, we're just going to run straight off. Like, just straight off and straight into the water. That's all you need to do. You're going to turn around here, and you're going to run over these bridges, and then back to Cogham. A little note here. All of that light blue water down here and down here is game over water, TM. When I'm running here, instead of having to line it up when I get here and pause, I like to look for this little black line right here. And holding L2 and R1, I'll run just on the bridge. If you don't want to do it like that, don't do it like that. Take it safe. Don't kill the run over something stupid. It's all ego. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to run across this bridge. And here, with any ladder, we can do a small skip where we grab the ladder or jump onto the ladder, either way. And then we jump, and I did it wrong there, but jump, hold forward, and hit circle to open, or to pull out the sword to do a jump slash, because you're in the air, and then you'll re-grab the ladder. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Different timings will determine how high you go on it and how long it takes to grab it. If you do it too early, if you do it too early, you won't get any grab most of the time. If you do it too late, then either you won't grab or it's hard to do it. Or you'll do that. You'll get a feel for it. Regardless, you want to make sure you jump onto this ladder at any point. Never mind, you don't need to do that anymore. Sorry, my brain is completely thrown off with the old routes. You do want to tech skip here, though, and hold this through the entire cutscene. And here we have our favorite boy, Gigatad. So we're going to tech skip through the Cloak of Heroes cutscene. And this is standard, this is whatever. We would do this in every run. And this is where Clorage comes in. So that save we made in Meridell, we're going to perform Clorage, which is a little weird at first, but it's not too hard to get a handle on. So once this cutscene is done, there's 3 text boxes, 3 text box sets. We're going to put on the cloak. And the way that I found it most consistent to do is that if you hit select, there's a little bit of lag there, as you can see. You can do a few inputs during that time. So if you hit select and just after force unequip, so say hit circle, you'll see the screen go white and you'll hear the uncloak sound. That's how you know you did it right. You'll go to load game and you'll load the file we saved over in Meridell. This will put the game in a pseudo cloak state where Tor has the cloak on, but if I were to hit square, I would no longer have the cloak. That's a problem because that means we can't use it. If I come out and I try to attack, nothing matters. I have it equipped, I can't quote unquote unequip it and have it, it'll just delete it from the inventory. So, if we instead immediately save the game and reload the game, for whatever reason, the game sees, hey, you have 2 costumes. That must mean that we have the Cloak of Heroes. And so the game will give us 2 Cloaks of Heroes for some reason. And in this state, not only do we have 2 cloaks, if you equip it, you cannot unequip it unless you force unequip it with circle or R2. That's fine. That doesn't matter. As long as we have the cloak. So that saves all of the running from Cogham, that saves all of the potions and such we used over at Cogham, so if you mess up and lose some things or have to re-pop extra potions, that doesn't matter. It's all gone. It's great. And it cuts a bunch of dupes. Anyway, from here, we're going to run. So here's the Meridell entrance. That's towards Inga's shop. We're going to run towards Meridell Plains. And we're just going to run straight here. And so here, I like to have water menued because we're going to switch to the water mode. A big thing with bosses I should note now. Or sorry, I'll get to that in a second. Right after these rocks here, we can just hold L2 off this ledge and we'll spawn right where we need to be. With bosses, for whatever reason, they don't have alignments. All the bosses are neutral aligned, meaning that none of the tier 2 modes, so water, stone, lava, wind, sun, or shadow, are any more effective. They're okay, that's not true. They're not as effective, so like the game tells you Gnarfas is fire aligned. He's not, he's neutral. So water is not going to do but so much more to him. But it would do the same amount that fire would do to him, as opposed to having a better effect. That being said, having a tier 2 mote, so one of the outer motes as opposed to one of the inner 6, so one of the outer 6, is more effective than having an inner 6. It's by a small amount, but it's enough. If we were to get a Nova Mote or a Supernova Mote like we used to in the route over at Cogham, that would be the most effective, with Supernova being able to melt Gnarfas. Regardless, we're going to come here, we're going to jump into this first water mote to skip the pickup animation. We're going to run into the second one because we've already picked one up, so it doesn't register that we need to see the animation, and we're going to jump right here next to these trees. The tree positions, apparently not, the actual hitboxes are RNG. I don't know how much I believe the second part, but the trees are weird. So we can do a speed clip here. These are really nice trees. I might reload to make this more demonstratable. What we're gonna do here is we're going to run into that corner between the trees and the wall until Tor vibrates a lot. And the reason we're doing that is because when Tor is vibrating between those 2 positions, which it might not show on video, but it will definitely show on your screen when you're playing, he's vibrating between 2 different positions. So one close to the tree and one close to the wall, because both polygons are trying to push him away. And what we're going to do is you can do this in 2 ways. So you want to be looking at this. I don't know if it's showing right, but regardless, you're running into this corner with a Meerca speed potion. That is crucial. And you're going to go towards this wall. I do it without buffering, which causes you to just do a really, really hard flick to the left. It is better to learn to do it like this. So you run into the corner, you hit select. So in this frame, Tor is on the right side. So I'm going to keep holding R1 and forward, and I'm going to pause buffer. 1 frame. So Tor is on the left side. So I'm going to hold directly left and unpause. And now Tor's nose is in the wall. You can see that he's not jittering anymore, which means you've done it right. At this point, keep holding R1 and left and jump straight through the wall, and then once you're through it, just stop and you'll land right here. Sometimes the trees are really mean and they won't let you through. Sometimes, like we saw in my first load, it was really good and it just zipped me through without me even having to jump. It really depends. It depends on the day. So right here, I'll do this again actually. If you were to come through this wall, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this again. I've not done this in a few days. And you just run straight forward, you'll be good. But if you don't want to do that, let me drown out here real quick. Maybe. I'm trying to load Meridell Plains back. So if you run straight forward there we go. You can just go straight towards where we need to be to load in Illusen's Glade. Alternatively, if you just stop here, you can move Tor around, get the camera to come behind the wall. And there's these lines on this wall in front of you. So if I turn around, for example, you can see like the blue like sky over here and this diagonal plane, whatever. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for this wall that's really close to us and the tree that we just clipped through. Just clipped with. This line right here is what you're looking to walk through. Just hold R1 and L2 and go forward. And so this water plane, you're going to come right up next to it. If you're on console, you have to make sure not to go under it, or you can hit the water in front of Illusen's and drown out. And I'll show how to back that up. On emulator, you can mostly just run up to it and be fine and just load like that. But regardless, run right up to the water and stop and wait for the load. And we'll be here. There's a little invisible wall there. See how Tor auto-grabbed it and I didn't get low gravity? If you want to go ahead and get low gravity here for the next trick, jump into that until you get the grab like that. And then you'll just keep holding forward at that point. So I do that and then hold L2, R1 forward. And you'll keep low gravity. From there, you'll run through both of those walls and you'll come right here. So you'll be facing the water on your left side, the stone on the right, on the straight forward, and on the right is where the Illusen's pathway is. So you can kind of see we're near the neg shop here. You're gonna run. In my testing, it's been like this little yellow-ish patch that Tor is standing on right here. To this ledge is where you can do the Cloak Dash. The problem is that if you're close enough, but not far enough away from this ledge, you can get an upwards angle Ledgefly, which will soft lock you, and it will crash your game. Or, well, it will soft lock the run, because you'll be flying infinitely. If you want to be safe, you can walk off the edge here, grab the edge, come back up, make sure you have Meerca speed on, turn around, and I like to aim at this left side of the rock. If you're too far towards this seam right here, you'll end up hitting an invisible wall, and it can game over plane you because the water extends just past this wall. I've done it once, that's the only reason I know. So I like to aim at the left side of this rock, and we're just going to do a Cloak Dash. Just like normal. And you'll go right over the water plane. You'll keep holding everything until you hit the y=0 plane. And from here, you will continue running forward. Let's say, for example, I messed up getting there, or I went too far originally, or whatever happens, or if you mess up the Cloak Dash for whatever reason, you're going to spawn here. There's these patches of grass. If you stand, or if you walk right in front of this one, to this flat ledge, you can kind of see, I'm going to point this out now, there's this plane that diagonally dips down here. Make sure you're not on that ledge, because it will mess up the Ledgefly if you're even able to stand there, because sometimes you can't. I'm going to go ahead and drown real quick. Make sure you're on this plane and just walk off. You can have high gravity, it doesn't matter. And so my lineup is right here. So in the center of this bar, there's this dark vein through the stone. If you want to think about it in a different way, there's this line here on like this dark stone line between the dark and the light, and the one between like the grassy, mossy stone and this dark one here. There's this line here. It's more or less right in the center, but I'm aiming there. And so you're going to put on the cloak, and you're going to do a unequip, hold down, hold X Ledgefly, nothing else. No speed matters, no gravity matters, and you'll go straight through. Right where you need to be. If you were to go there and hold R1, L2, and forward and pop a speed potion during the fly, you'll run straight where you need to be. You're perfectly good. If you want to wait, the camera will face you towards the wall you just came through. You can turn around, walk a little bit, not too far, and then R3. And so that'll pop your camera here. I like to walk off this corner, but regardless, as long as you're running towards this seam between the mossy stone and the regular stone here, as long as you're walking here, you're going to be okay. Make sure you have a speed potion and hold L2 and R1. And run straight forward. You'll miss the water plane. You'll bump against some planes. Just keep running forward. You'll run through this wall, and you'll be here. You're going to want to run off this corner right in front of Tor here, so more or less in line with this mossy stone. And we'll just run straight off. There's an invisible wall, so you can jump over that here. And you might not be able to see it yet, but there's this like rectangle of collision down there. So there's this line right here, and there's this diagonal line right here. We're going just in that pocket between the two. If you were to do the Cloak Dash, by the way, you're going to land here-ish. So you're going to be aiming just about where you need to be. So you end up at the same point here. So we're going to run towards this diagonal plane. And there's two ways you can do this upwarp. You can try to go for an instant double upwarp, which takes you to the very top of Illusen's Glade, which is optimal, but not necessary at all. Where I like to aim just to the left of this thick dark seam, or sorry, to the right of it, almost where Tor's ears are pointing, so this little gap right here between this top vein and this bottom vein. And if I line this up right, I got one upwarp, I didn't get both. I was aiming to be all the way up there. Let me go back out of bounds real quick. And I will show you how to do it the, like, easy to line up way. I'll also go over this again as a backup for if you were to mess up the Ledgefly to Illusen. So don't worry about that. Or if you were to fall down. Okay, so we would fall down onto this plane. Quick note here. If you come out of bounds from inside Illusen's, sometimes you can be behind this invisible wall I just jumped over. And now I can't get to this plane. What do? You're going to turn around, and there's this plane of grass here, and this texture right here, just above the eye, where there's the dark mossy stone and the stone to the right of it that's just green. The dark stone and moss, it kind of makes a triangle between the two. Run more or less at that until you upwarp onto this green plane that I pointed out. That's just coming up on the left side here of Tor. And then from here, I like to hold up left until I upwarp. Now we can go back to that plane, and that invisible wall won't be there anymore. I don't know why it spawns. It just does. If you come here in the first place from like going into Illusen's, it won't happen. But if you drop out of Illusen's, it can. So we're on this plane here. So through this wall, let's turn it here, there's this rock and a little bit of texture here. Or a little bit of collision. So what I do is I hold L2 and R1, and I run forward into the rock, and then I hold left for just a little bit, and then go back to the right. And what this is going to do, I'm doing it in like a forward left and then a forward right. And that's going to kind of zigzag you up onto that collision you saw me on earlier. It's going to be like that. And you're going to land right here. That can take some time. Don't feel bad. And so this is the first part of the upwarp. So this is the lower part of Illusen's. We can't really get inbounds from here easily to stay up here. Otherwise, we would drop down. So along this diagonal line right here, we can do the same thing where we do a small Z pattern, kind of like that. And so we'll upwarp all the way up here. You'll know you'll do it right if you can either see Illusen and the Wereloop King, or this black smoke, or if you just see the collision change. This should be the only place you go. I don't know of another place you can go, but regardless. If you have low gravity, you can very safely just run off of this with L2 and Speed Potion. If you don't, you can choose to jump here just to make sure, or you can L2 jump.
You just want to make sure you land up here and not miss this ledge and go all the way down there. As long as you're up here, you're fine. So we'll jump here, and we'll continue on from there. If you were to miss the upwarp up there and land inbounds right here, so this was the ledge we just tried to do the second upwarp with. If we land inbounds here, that's fine. It's technically a little slower, but we can just run along here and run past the wear loops. So we're going to come up this first stairway, ignore that ledge grab, and up this one here. There's this post here. We're going to run just to the right of this post. I like to run as if I'm running to hit the right side of it and glance off of it. And you're going to have a speed potion, and you're going to hold L1 and L2 and R1 and run straight off. You're going to land right here. If your speed potion is run out, or for whatever reason you're not popping one, just jump and you'll make it. You jump after you start falling and you'll make it. From here, we're going to go over this rope ladder. And we're going to come over here. And so here, we need to come to hit the Gnarfas trigger. Here we need to get low gravity for this Ledgefly. I like to use this leaf as a visual liner. So I'm going to jump at that leaf, and I'm going to aim right here on this ledge. The reason being, that'll give us the low gravity we need. Just like that. So then we're going to turn our camera towards this tree. Oh my god, sorry. This tree right here. We're going to do 2 quick jabs. And that makes it so Tor's sword will never swing to the side and possibly hit some collision to bounce him back. And that sets us the perfect distance away from where we need to be to set up this Ledgefly. So right here, we're going to do the upwards Ledgefly that I talked about before. The big important note here, if your speed potion is still active, do not hold R1 or you will just cloak dash and you will fall down. That's why you want to do 2 jabs. Sorry. If you don't have a speed potion, hold R1 to make sure you get the correct angle. I aim so the middle of Tor's head is in the middle of this support beam on this thing. And you're going to do, with no potion, L2, R1, unequip, hold forward, and then X. And that'll be a Ledgefly. If you have potion, drop the R1. You'll be just fine. I'm going to do that, and there. And while you're flying, you can go ahead and put on your water motes. And go ahead and menu over to your fire mote for Roberta later. I'm hoping he hits me here. If not, I can reload to show something. Okay. I'm going to reload to 8A real quick. I think it's 8A. Maybe it's 8C. Might be 8C. Walk outside real quick. I'm gonna need to look it up again. It's been a minute since I've worked into Illusen's. .4A. Okay. So we're gonna go over to Illusen's Glade. Oh no! I fell down doing the Gnarfas Ledgefly. So I fell right here. That's where we just did the Ledgefly right up there. What do? You have 2 options. If your potion is out, go ahead and water warp here. Otherwise, just go to the left side there and jump down. And you can land on some collision over there and then walk back here. It might still be faster to water warp, but regardless, I guess I'm thinking more of a state of preserving your potions depending on how tight your routing is. From here, we have 2 options. Number 1 is a Ledgefly out, and number 2 is a speed clip out, which you saw me do before. The Ledgefly we're going to do to leave Act 1 later anyway, to leave Illusen's. So I'm going to show that first. You're coming over here, blah, blah, blah. You come up these vines. It doesn't matter if you have low gravity or not. And don't move once you come up the vines. Just turn your camera, hit L2 to point towards this wall. Make sure you're not pointing straight out. Don't point towards at the rock. Point like in the center of this wall, kind of, between the rock, between this corner of the rock and between here. So somewhere in the center, like here-ish. And we're going to do a down X Ledgefly. So just something super basic, just like that. and Tor's going to grab the ledge, and you're going to fall out of bounds. From here, going that way would take you towards Meridell, but if you just run along this plane, you can come outside of it, it's not a big deal. Run along this plane, through that first wall and through the second wall. We're right here, which is where we upwarped before into Illusen's. We can come here, we can do the same upwarp here. Now let's say I was doing that and I fell off there. Let's say I fell out of bounds, which I'm going to do now. Oh no, I fell out of bounds. So we're here. So we're near the chest. This is where we would drop down after the Illusen fight. Instead of going over and having to go that way for the Ledgefly, I'm kind of convinced it's faster to go do this speed clip, which you can also do, and we do this in no cloak and Hundo to get out of Illusen's Glade. We come to this cave here, go past the first plant, we go past the second plant, and the third plant right next to the rocks. So that's where, I don't know why two of you are here. Right here near Sir Ignis, or whatever his name is, these two plants. We're going to run into them, and we're going to turn towards this plant on the right until Tor slips back, and you're going to turn back towards the wall forward. Then you're going to jump through the wall and hit R3 to center behind you, and we're here. So here's what we just jumped out of, is this like curvy bit here. We turn away from it, towards the water in the background there. We can turn and hug this left wall. This is the rock that we did the upwarp on before, into Illusen's. So we can just come here, do that again. And I'm just going to walk off right here. And there we go. So we're back to where we were before. If, let's say, you failed the Ledgefly, or like failed to grab the ledge, or whatever happened, you got hit out of the air by one of the weird loops, you can come back down here, come here, and run casually up to Illusen's. So long as you've already gone down and hit the loading trigger near where the lift would take you up, you can run right back up here and right into the boss fight. I'm going to show off the Ledgefly one more time with the Meerca speed to show doing it without without R1 being held. But before you enter the Gnarfas boss fight, you want to pop the speed potion. Or sorry, you want to pop the power potion. And just quickly here, I am going to make a save using the hack menu right here. I'm going to do this just so I can show off the Gnarfas fight a few times. I have it here just in case I get bonked out of the air, but regardless. So since I have Meerca speed, I'm not going to hold R1 and just do the Ledgefly like that. And so we're going to run straight through these trees and straight up into the fight. And so right before I get to the fight, I'm going to pop this power potion. And I like to menu back to my Meerca speed while I have time. And we're going to go through this cutscene. I'm going to pause here real quick. So Gnarfas is going to start running towards you. If you do not move, he will always run towards you the same way. When he gets to you, he can either rotate around you clockwise or counterclockwise. What I have found to be the most consistent to get them melt is that if I stand still and hold R1, I don't know if the R1 actually changes anything, but it's what I do. When he comes up to me, I wait about half a second to a second and then do da-da-da-da-da. So I'll get the quick first two jabs and then a da-da-da afterwards. It's a little weird to explain at first. I'm going to make a hack menu save here as well to see if I can use this to save. But I'm going to let Gnarfas run up to me and I'm going to do that rhythm while holding R1. And see, I got a good melt there. And so because we don't have Nova modes, we have to do it twice. Okay, so that was a good fight. That was a really good fight for only having a water mode. Alternatively, if the fight doesn't go so well, let's say Gnarfas isn't being nice today, right? Let's say whatever I try to get it, I either miss the melt or he only gets a little bit of damage or he hits me or whatever happens. You can either continue to set yourself up with just enough distance away from him to do the melt again, or you can go into doing 3-hit combos. It depends on what you're more comfortable with. I think the melt ends up being faster if you have a good strat to do it. but you'll have to play with it and see what feels good for yourself as a backup. If you're doing 3-hit combos, try to delay the swings one after the other, because there's a chance that Gnarfas' hitbox can still get that multi-hit, which is why it's worth going for that. And you can still guarantee some damage, whereas the jab is kind of iffy. So there I was too slow in my inputs. Everybody does this differently, I'm pretty sure, so you're going to have to play with it and feel it out and see what feels good for you. If you get hit 3 times in any manner here, you'll hit the cutscene, so I'll just go ahead and show that. If you hit the cutscene, it's okay. And in the first phase of the fight, Gnarfas is not able to go into his like stunned animation, which I'll show here. Like that. During this, you can set yourself up exactly how you want and do the melt for it, or do the regular 3-hit combos. I have found that just barely on the outside of his chain swings, which I kind of visually line up these days, is the right distance to do the way that I do the melt as a backup if I need to do it. Like that. And so you'll just go through the fight like normal, and it will be whatever. See if I can kill him on this. If Gnarfas is being mean, I found that standing still tends to make him jump on you faster. But I don't know if that's just confirmation bias or what. And we've killed Gnarfas. So we're going to skip this cutscene. Going into Illusen here, make sure you tech skip and don't let go during this cutscene. There's a lot of dialogue here that's just obnoxious to skip. A weird quirk with cloak glitches is that when you go into certain in-engine cutscenes, it'll be taken away. Why? But it can. So, in response to that, we need to reset our cloak glitches. There's a number of ways we can do that. We're still kind of figuring out certain things, so like using a lever will give it back to you. Opening a regular chest will give it back to you. Picking up an item for the first time, which is what we're going to do here, will give it back to us. So right from here, we're going to spawn facing a little bit to the left of this minion. We're going to pop a potion and go to the right, around this tree. We're going to come to this neg patch. Do a spin attack. Ideally, you would tech skip it, but it doesn't matter, and pick up a new item. If you don't get a spawn here, you can come back here and either open this chest that's right there, that will give your glitches back, or come to this Chikado patch and pick up a Chikado here. Alternatively, if for whatever reason you don't want to come back here, you can run from this neg patch straight forward, past this stump, over to the Starberry fruit here. I've had worse luck with this than I've had with the Chikados, and that's really saying something. I wouldn't rely on this since the chest is over by the Chikados. Just go for that as a backup if you need to. Anyway, after you get your item pickup, or chest open, so here's the negs. We're going to run straight, hug this tree, and come up here. And this is the Ledgefly we showed as a backup. We're going to come up these mines again. We're going to turn toward maybe 45-ish degrees towards the center of this wall. So not too far towards this, and not too close to this edge here. The minions being mean, normally this wouldn't be a problem. If Tor blocks, it resets his position to a different position. So you're going to want to try and do this a little fast. So L2 to fit Tor the way the camera's facing. And you do the regular unequip down Ledgefly. Just like that, and you'll be out of bounds. From here, we're going to turn 80 degrees to the left and run forward to upwarp onto this plane. There's this little mole right here in this texture. That's what I aim for, just to line me up for later, and it means that I can jump just before it to get over that invisible wall. Once I run through that wall, just right here, there's that dark green plane meshing with the light green plane. That's exactly what I run towards. Right here now.
Oh, it's hard to see on the screen. Sorry.
Right there. I run right towards that. I should mention now, because this is more or less the first part where I start using it in the run. If you hold forward in L2, you'll run forward. If you hold to the side, you'll start strafing, which is significantly slower. If you're holding R1 with forward while strafing, you'll go faster, whereas the side, back, and whatnot will go the same speed. However, diagonals will give you that. If you find a space which is easier on Digi, kind of, it's more restrictive, but it's less of an initial tilt to find it, where you can go forward and slightly to the side. You can hold L2 and be able to turn the camera without going into this strafe animation, where if I was holding forward like normal with Tor, and it's just barely to the side. So you'll see I'm kind of shifting a little bit to the side there, just to the left and just to the right. And that's how you know you're doing it right. So you can turn the camera. If I go too far, I'll go to the regular strafe. If I don't go far enough, I'll get this when I'm turning the camera. That can be used a few times. I use it here just to push myself up against this invisible wall just a little bit. So we're running towards that plane like before. And we'll upwarp here, just by holding forward and left. We're going to turn to Tor's right, towards this grass. We're going to run off, and we're going to jump over this invisible wall. This water plane has some like void out collision about to like here-ish or something. The way that I look to see where I can turn in is there's this little divot right here where it kind of cuts inward on itself, going almost like an hourglass shape in the middle. I run just to about this hourglass. You can see it a little bit better now, where it's kind of cut inwards. Once I'm inside this inwards cut, I can turn to the left and run towards this wall. You can run through that wall, and then I aim... Apparently that was far enough. You can still kind of see this texture right here. I aim towards this line right here and walk forward just a little bit, and then you would upwarp here. From here, we have loaded in Meridell, kind of, what we need. So I line up along the edge of this wall here, and I can run straight forward for just a second. So that'll load in, we'll drop down. I run through this first wall. I'm going to stop. I believe my camera got turned around. It did. I'm going to run a little bit more forward. I'm going to run back because it's being strange to me. I might have hit something I wasn't supposed to. I'll go over that back up in a second. So you're going to run forward. You're going to run forward. You're going to load that stuff. I'm going to run through this wall and stop. It's being mean. So turn a little bit more. Okay, so run through this wall. So there's two planes here. So there's this plane on the left, which extends all the way this way and behind us. And there's this one on the right. Not this one above them. This one above them is fine. This one on the right and this one on the left, you want to avoid a lot. Because if you step on them, you will load the wrong thing and you will mess up this part of the trick. And I will show a recovery for that. Find a way. You can do it with a visual lineup like I do with just looking straight forward, or you can look up and just walk in between the planes. Just like that. You're going to turn when you're out of here, and you're going to come here. This is a place where there is a console-specific trick. I need to find where Jax explains it in the GDQ hotfix Out of Bounds, describing how to do it. I will also try to link one of my PBs with a timestamp of me doing it on console to show what it looks like. But effectively, you would come over just behind this rock, and you would line up like this. You would step onto this green plane right here, and then step directly off of it, and then run towards the second spire. The reason being is there's a loading area for Act 3 behind the spires there. For some reason, we think it was supposed to be like a castle break-in, re-entry, whatever. It puts us in the Meridell Castle Courtyard. So we're aiming for that. Briefly before that, let's say I was going through these walls, right? And I'm just going to come over here and upwarp onto something I'm not supposed to be on. If I can find anything to upwarp onto, that would be wonderful. Okay. So we're here. Let's say I'm doing this like normal, blah, 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 and I cut too far to the right, too early. I'm up here. That's bad. That means that I've loaded in some weird collision for actual Meridell here. What I'll have to do is I'll have to turn around and go through this wall. I fell off of it. Go a little bit more to the left of where I was there. Let me get back up there real quick. It's being mean to me. Let me redo that real quick. Apologies. Okay. So, let's say I went too far to the right. Okay, I'm going to turn around here. I'm hitting some interesting collision I've never hit before. Regardless, we're going to turn around, and we're going to run straight back. If it pushes you off with some weird collision, that's fine. You're going to keep running back. And you're eventually going to either hit this, or you're going to keep running, and you're going to hit this. This is the same plane we saw before. If we run all the way back to these trees, you'll see that this loaded in. This is the plane we were on prior, and we're right back to where we were. If you're more over to this side, which we'll see this side later anyway, if you see this gap right here in between these two planes, it's easier to see it if you can see, if say this left side over here wasn't loaded in, you'd see a gap here into like the skybox and the darkness and whatnot. You want to go to the left of this plane, over here, step on the back side of this is important to load it properly, and then through this wall, and we're right back here. If we run to the left, I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. We'll load in that. To fix that, we turn around, we run towards where we came from. And this one is a little weird. I haven't done this one in a minute. We basically run hugging that invisible wall on the right side, just kind of jamming into it and keep running back until we upwarp here. From here, we have these two colored planes. Walk under the dark green one, and we're right back where we were before. To give you an idea, this is the gap we were just at. So it popped us out right here. Apologies. That's what happens if you don't walk back before walking onto that plane. That's why you have to come all the way back here. It will deload on you. So once more, correctly, we're going to run straight forward here. You would avoid these two death planes. I do it like this. However you want to do it is fine, as long as you get through it. And for if you either want to do a safe console strat, because the one with the upwarp on the rock right here is pretty hard to do at first until you get a feel for it, or you can do this strat back here, which emulator has to do because we load too fast. I should mention, doing the console strat here forces you to turn on the music, because turning on the music will slow down the speed. If you're going for a fast time, you're going to have your music all the way off. So at some point, before you step onto this green plane right here, you're going to come in here, go to options, and turn the audio up just the tiniest bit. It has to be the music, and it has to be just enough. Like, you can have the tiniest bit. Like, that is enough. As long as it's loading the music, it'll slow the game down enough. On Digi, it doesn't change a thing, unfortunately. But there are these rocks over here and these green planes. I like to run right between the two where they collide. Right here. Run towards that for a second, just so I can make sure I clear this green plane on my right. And then as we get closer, you'll start to see two lines. You'll start to see one here, and you'll start to see one here. I like to run to the one on the inner side, closer to this rock here. And what this is doing is that this is a part of, I believe it's Draken Ridge, that will load in a section of Meridell. Or at least the load we need. The way I line this up is there is this green plane here. We're going to step onto that. There's these three rocks in the background. There's one, there's two, and there's three. The big third one on the left. I like to aim at the third one. So I aim just to the left of this third one here. If I can see it. It's right there. Right there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to upwarp onto this ledge that's just in front of me right now. And we're going to jump straight back off. It'll look like this. Okay? And so to make sure you get it correct at the beginning, stop here and turn around. Back up a little bit more so the invis wall isn't mean to you. You're going to turn around. So we're looking at these castle spires. This is the one we're going to end up running under. But just to make sure you don't load in the Meridell village, which will ruin the trick, and I can show a backup for that in a second, don't worry. You're going to run to the right. I like to do it, if you're guaranteeing, so that this spire is in line with the mountains in the back, just the edge of it. And so from here, you're going to run straight forward and you're going to laser focus your eyes on the water in the background. And as soon as the water disappears, you're going to stop in place. You're going to keep going, keep going. It's going to change colors and the water's gone. So we're going to stop and the screen's going to go black. This means we did it right. So we're going to go into our menu, put on the cloak, and unequip the cloak, and we'll be in the Meridell Castle Courtyards. Depending on how you do the trick and where you're positioned, it'll change where you end up in the courtyards, but as long as you're here, it's fine. This door is locked. This is usually where you'll pop out. So you'll come all the way around to this door near the squire bed. And this is the infamous Bedge. Before we do this, I will show a backup to get back out from Meridell if you mess up the entry. I need to do, actually, 5A. Apologies for that. Alright, so we are outside of Meridell. So let's say I messed up the trick, whether on console or digi, and I fell into the water. Suddenly, I'm here, and there's enemies. I'm going to pop a potion, I'm going to run here like I'm going back to Gnarfas. Sounds normal, is fine. There's no invisible walls, not in Act 1. And we're just going to follow the path. We're not going to water void here. We're going to come just around this patch of trees. We're going to do another speed clip as a backup. We're also going to do this in Act 3 to get back into Meridell. So, if you run towards this tree, you can run at it until you stop jittering and kind of twitch at the wall until you jitter and then stop. And then you're going to face the wall. If you're going to start jittering, you'll start jittering until you stop. And then you can do a jump towards the tree. There you go. I'll try to find and link Keiko's video of that they found to make it a little bit more consistent. They explain it a little better. But you're looking for a jitter there, turn towards the wall, find a place where you don't jitter, and then jump towards the tree. And the tree will push you inbounds, and there's a small invisible wall right here that I can't jump back into that you'll have to jump through. Just make sure you jump back out of bounds because it's easy for the camera to mess you up and jump you inbounds. I found it most consistent to do this kind of deal and just immediately jump through. Because once you're over that wall, it won't let you jump back through right here. You'll have to come all the way over here to jump back in bounds. So from here, you're right back here, exactly where we were before. And we'll do the same trick as before. Just to save. No, I'll do it again. So, we'll come here, we'll walk through, we'll avoid the 2 green planes of death, and we'll run straight back into the background. I'll start turning towards that. And then as soon as I can see the water, I'm going to start looking for those rocks. Just on the left side of that 3rd rock. And I'm going to jump straight back off. And I'm going to turn behind me. And I'm going to run to the right until the pillar or the spire and the mountain are lined up and run straight towards it. Wait until the water disappears and stop in place. I could hit the thing. And here we are. All normal. We're going to come back inside. We're going to be in bounds. Or we're going to be in the castle. So we're going to come over here to the Bedge. Thank you, Herv. We're going to come somewhat close to the edge. You don't have to be super close. This bed has a really weird ledge hitbox. It was really nice to me there. Where it kind of won't let you get onto it if you just use the auto jump. Sometimes if you jump and you're too close to it or you try to get onto it too early, you'll get a weird ledge grab like that. The best thing you can do is, I'm going to get rid of my low gravity, just jump early, to be honest. You can be pretty far back on this Ledgefly, but regardless, you're going to do a regular down X Ledgefly, and you will land on Y = 0 above the barracks where you just were. Now, sometimes the Ledgefly will send you up. It doesn't matter because the Y = 0 is there. It doesn't matter as long as you get the Ledgefly. So what I do is I'll come out and I'll immediately hit R3. That'll center the camera behind me instead of having it do all that weird below me, having weird collision nonsense. And so I'll look down. That circle is where we just were. If you were to fall into that, it's not a big deal. So you're here, you can't jump out here, but you can jump right back here. And we're back in bounds next to the Bedge. Not a big deal. It happens. So we're going to do a Ledgefly again. We're here. So we're going to walk just to the right a little bit, and we're going to follow the outside of this here. And there's this divot right here that Tor is almost standing over, right here, where there's no rooms. We're going to run right over top of that, so we stay on the y=0 plane. And we're going to run a little bit to the edge of it. And so right here, there's this square patch in this wood-topped room. This is the King's Throne Room, and this square is that little like circular bit on the upper side of the throne room, normally where you would go to start the Sisters' escape fight. What we're doing here is we're going to, assuming you have a Potion of Meerca speed, you're going to hold forward and R1 and L2 to make sure you can just run straight forward. Now, if you want to make sure that you land in the square there, if you hold the right stick either directly up, like 100% straight up or 100% straight down, you can move while holding forward on with an L2 strafe. If you're holding ever so slightly to the side, L2, if you're holding forward, will not let you move. So you can take your time to set up a straight angle here. And you can see by Tor is either like turning to the side or turning to the other side, if he's doing it or not. And you'll just look straight down and make sure you land in that square. That's perfect. From here, we're going to do Enlow, or Neil's Lights Out Wall, as you decided to name it. Here, there's a multitude of strats. So we have the old strat where you can do the Pillar Ledgefly, which I'm not going to bother showing. There's the Table Clip, which is awful, don't learn it. There's the Ottoman Ledgefly, which is awful, don't learn it. And there's the Plant Megajump, which we don't need to do anymore. This principle works off of your thrust attacks. So what we do here is we can line up on a specific area and do a thrust attack at the wall. And if you time the thrust attack when Tor is kind of already at the face of the wall, so what I said before, where you would delay your thrust attack so that you would do move back, move forward, delay it just a little bit, and then attack, it'll allow Tor to get all the way against the wall and then do the thrust, so he pokes through the wall a little bit. And the reason this works is because the loading trigger for Act 2 is literally on the other side of that wall. So we can just kind of walk up to it and just thrust at it, and you'll hit the loading trigger, and that's it. I'm going to pause here for a second. So we have this here, this crest on the shield and two swords. Here's the banner to the right of it. Just on the right side, you can see the plant here. You're basically turning 180 behind you to see this wall. The line I look for is on the footboard here. It kind of goes in this wave pattern here. I look for this right here and this line on this brick. Somewhere between those two is roundabout where I aim. So I'm going to walk right up to it. I like to hold L2 to make sure I don't turn back or do anything weird. And I'm going to walk right up to it and do a back, forward, and then attack for the thrust attack. And it should work. If it doesn't work first try, it'll work fairly soon. Like that. And that'll hit the load trigger and you'll go straight through to Act 2. And so that's honestly a majority of the run. Act 1 is super dense. Act 1 is very long. That is a lot of the run. And once you can do Act 1, you can pretty confidently do the rest of the game. From here, we're going to come to the right. You can move as soon as you get into Faerieland. I just wanted to take a sip of water. We're going to come over here, and we're going to hug the left wall of this maze. The reason we're hugging the left wall is because it'll take you directly here. If you don't know the path by heart, it's okay. You want to text skip this because it saves you some mashing. You don't really need to. And then you're going to leave this maze. And there's two things you can do here. Number one, you can take the casual route, which is you'll come over here, you'll go up the stairs, and you'll go up the left side of stairs here. That is 100% safe. Nothing will ever go wrong. It's fine. Alternatively, if you want to save 6-8 seconds, depending, you can come over to this other hedge maze, take a right, take another right, and then take a left to this fence. You can do a fence clip. This can soft lock you. This can lose you a bunch of time. I would recommend practicing it a bunch before putting it in runs if you decide to put it in runs. I like to do it because it's flashy, it's fun, it's something not a lot of people do. I think it's funny, and technically it saves time. So I'm going to show it, and then I will go back and show where you would walk normally. If you're going to do the fence clip, there's 2 ways to do it. You're going to hold R1 and L2 and run into this wall till you jitter, and then stop. You're going to turn the camera until you're just barely... Okay, let me point this out real quick. So we have each of these pillars. Here, 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 here. This pillar right here, next to Roberto. I want to just barely cover all of it. So if you hold L2, you'll turn very slowly and move Roberto with you. And just slightly cover that pillar. So what we're going to do here, I'd recommend slowing this down, is you're going to hold forward into the wall with L2 and R1. And you're going to flick the stick back ever so slightly to the right, I've noticed that I subconsciously do. And then back forward. And that should pop you through the fence like this. If I can get it. Like that. Sometimes it takes a little bit, sometimes not. There is a buffer method to do it. I will see if I can find something about it. I'm not great with the buffer method. It does exist. I think it's not worth doing if you're going to buffer it, but it's entirely up to you. To consistently get off of this area, you cannot go inbounds unless you fall into this gap on the right here. The problem is that that gap goes all the way down to y equals 0. You can see we're at 1500 y, which is crazy high. And once you drop past a certain point, you can no longer upwarp back up here. It's over. You have to be careful. The way that I have found to set it up is Roberta's shadow. So I'm holding L2 to make sure she's staying still. Her shadow is hitting this pillar here, right? There's this small line that the underscore is kind of following underneath the pillar that's bisecting the pillar. I want to make that bisect her shadow as well, which it's doing just about right now, anywhere like that. And so I'm going to hold L2 and I'm going to turn Roberta until that entire same pillar is just covered, just like that. And I'm going to hold directly to the right on the left stick until we drop through. And if we get this, you're going to hold right and jump. If not, you'll just land up here and you'll go sliding somewhere and you'll be good. And that's how you do the upwarp here. And that'll put us right next to the tree we need to climb to get the stick for the wand. If you were to walk up normally, which is probably the safe way to do it, most people would recommend it. I like doing funny things that can absolutely kill runs, and have before, actually. You would normally walk up to these stairs. So this left maze here, which is normally right from the way you're doing it, but this left maze here, you'd come out of, you'd come up to these stairs, hold L2 on certain parts of these because they can give you auto jumps, like this one is going to, and then come up the left side here. Since you're coming from this way, you can go ahead and talk to Painter Howl here. So jump into him, do a text jump, and go through his text. And so we're going to come down these stairs, we're going to hug right, and come over this fog path into this tree, and we're going to climb up it. And this is where the two paths will converge. Something that Deesh mentioned in his All Bosses tutorial that apparently nobody ever knew except for when we accidentally found it one day, and he never told anybody, apparently, as far as we know, is that instead of having the camera straight on with Roberta, you can see that I'm climbing like, I'm climbing fairly slow, it's whatever. If I, say, turn the camera to 45-degree angle, and I hold diagonally up left on the stick, I can climb about twice as fast. The only problem is like when there's not vines on the left and right of you, you'll slow back down, but that's fine. So you can climb faster doing that. I'm going to climb back over here, drop down, and grab the stick. It doesn't matter how you grab the stick, as long as you grab the stick, it's fine. From here, if you turn towards, I kind of look to be just to the left of this pine cone tree. There's this other one here that you can't really see, but more or less in between where they are, and run forward with R1, L2. You can get a slide there. If you time a jump well, you can carry the momentum a little bit. It's a small optimization, it doesn't matter. But we're gonna run back up these stairs. If you ran up casually, you can do a proper text jump off of Painter Howl here. If not, you'll just jump into his dialogue and spam through it if you did the fence clip. And you won't be able to get a text jump, but you will still get the bottle you need. So you just do the text jump off of him if you grabbed the bottle before, save a little bit of time, and make sure this is probably the second area that you have to do a text skip. It saves you so much mashing. You will thank yourself later. But we're going to come talk to the Kachik, Seredar, and the old lady. And this is what's going to allow us to go do our wand training with Seredar. We have to hit this, unfortunately. And there's no way to skip, say, into the Fiora's Palace that we know of right now. But, doesn't mean it can't be found. From here, we're going to come out of this small cutscene. And we're going to run over to this guy and buy 2 Meerca speed potions. And we're going to save them for now. There's going to be 2 specific places where we pop them. We're going to run up these stairs. We're going to run down these stairs. And we're going to take a really sharp left once we get off these stairs and over this bridge. Let's act like I hadn't picked up that light modus tour in Act 1. This is where we would get our light mode. So you're going to jump into it to skip the text pickup. And you're going to grab this bottle. That one is worth text skipping because you can start moving immediately off of it rather than having a pickup animation for the bottle here. But we're going to turn around, we're going to walk over this bridge, and we're going to go right inside the library. We're going to hold down, and we're going to go right over to Seredar. Seredar will have, I believe it's 16 text boxes. We're just going to mash through these. And here we have to do our wand training. So there's a few stages. So stage 1 is just fire a weapon, or fire a attack. So using R2 we can attack without actually interacting with the consumable menu. So we can open the consumable menu, hold text skip, and hold this for the rest of this entire sequence, and just hit R2. We're going to fire here. Now we're going to spawn the book, and we just have to look at the book and hit the book once. At this point, he wants us to do a charge attack. It doesn't matter if he hits the book. The only part of the charge attack that you have to hear is the small whirring at the beginning. So the zzz. Once you hear that, you can let go of it. It doesn't have to be a full charge. So we're going to do that. Like that. And that'll count. From here, he wants you to do spam attacks. Do at least 3 and it'll work consistently fine. Just like that. Or not. I've never had that happen. And here, this is why we pre-moted mote menu to the fire. It's because we'll have a mote to hit the book with. I found it consistently easy to do a quick 3-hit combo with Roberta onto the book after equipping the fire mote, and then proceedingly doing a delayed 3-hit combo, and usually the book will play nice and you'll kill him pretty fast. So we'll see if we can do that. Oh, I did that wrong. Worst case scenario, just keep doing 3-hit combos, you'll do it. Set up another text skip as soon as you can after equipping the mote, and you'll be fine. And that's the end of that sequence. Subconsciously there I started mote menuing, but at some point between now and Gauntlet and Act 3, go ahead and hover the light mote since you'll have the water mote on tour. At this point, we're going to pop our potion as Roberta and run to the right. This bit is a little time sensitive, kind of, but there's 2 ways to do it. So we're going to come down this staircase, hug right, go straight over that fog fall, come up these stairs and into the palace. So you have the option here to do JOOB, or Jordana out of bounds. We're going to come up these stairs. The reason you might not want to do this is there's 2 ways that you can soft lock very easily if you're not careful about how you do it, or if you're not disciplined about practicing it. Otherwise, you can do the casual strat, and I'm going to give myself some potions to show off both ways to do it. Just going through the game. I should explain. So once you come up the stairs, you're just going to hug the left wall until you get to these rooms, and then you're going to go through 3 hallways. So this third circle room, you're going to turn left. You're going to jump into this wind moat. You're going to sleep at the bed, and ideally you would start running through the darkness towards out the door. Here is where we would split. So you can either go into Seredar's room straight across for Jordana out of bounds, or JOOB, or you can run here this way and just out, do a tech skip, just to hit this cutscene here. From here, you're going to run this way, and you would run down here, and then you would go over here to the boxes and hit the cutscene with the old lady in the shackles. If we are to do JOOB, which I would highly recommend doing, it's not terribly hard. It can be a little spicy at times, but you have to make sure you have potion to be able to do this. I'm going to have to kill this minion here just in a second. So you would run out of your room and into Seredar's room. This plant right here is the one we'd clip off of. Apparently the bullet getting close to Seredar causes it to trigger the cutscene. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, there we go. So normally that yellow minion is going to be pestering you, but still. So this plant. So this is another speed clip. So you'll kind of angle yourself almost towards like the back of the plant. So I start looking at the wall. I angle ever so slowly to the right. And you'll see I go kind of halfway through the wall. So I'll come here, and I'll face towards the wall and jump through. And that's the first part. That's the easy part of this trick. You have to have speed to do this, at least consistently, just like that. It's not super hard to get the hang of after you do it once or twice. You just have to do it once or twice to kind of feel it out. Once you're out of bounds here, sometimes the camera's going to be a little mean and be weird with you. Just walk away. Don't jump through anything because you'll jump back in bounds likely. But once you can turn around, you can see here. There is this room here. We refer to it as the BDSM room because there's shackles and whatnot. Do not go into that room. Avoid it like the plague. 100%. If you touch it, you are locked in there. There's no way to get out of it unless we have the cloak, which we don't. We could bring the cloak into Act 2, but it's not useful enough to be worthwhile for the time loss as of right now. But we're going to run to the right side of that. You're gonna... Ideally, you would start a tech skip. I am right here. So there's these 3 lighter textures here. I am in the middle of this light texture, and I run straight towards it with a tech skip. Normally, if I hadn't gone inbounds anyway, right here, I would be hitting the old lady text box of somebody help me. That's great. I would get the text box right here, and I would run straight back. And if you're running right at this, it'll tick you to the right a little bit, and you'll run straight back, and you will miss the BDSM room. Once you can see the room, you can turn your camera. I would recommend stopping until you get a kind of a feel for what that is like. And you're going to run over towards the outside of that. So I'm going to show this in one motion. Right here, and aiming at that. I'm not going to adjust once it ticks me. I would hit the thing there, run straight back. I can see the room. Turn that way. If the camera's being mean, tap backwards. If the camera's being mean, tap forwards. It depends on which one it's causing issues with. If you're seeing the inside of the BDSM room, tap forwards just a little bit while holding L2. If you're seeing it clip you up into that room there, tap backwards just a little bit, and that's to the camera. And so there's this dark circle here. We're going to want to drop into the dark circle at the point where that and this room meet. So when I upwarp here, the dark circle disappears, the cylinder. That is the room that we would normally jump on that stool for to get right up next to that window to get the cutscene with the old lady. So if we stand and we walk just parallel to this wall, we'll drop right into the cutscene. Normally, if you did that, you would still have a decent bit of your speed potion left with good movement, and you could go about halfway down this hallway with it. But regardless of which strat you did, you would run this way like normal, and they would both be lined up here. You're going to take a left through this door, and we're going to run straight all the way to the clock tower. And this is all casual gameplay right now. This is all completely normal. A thing to note, this room is really bad about having flashing during the cutscenes, and if you get hit by that dark minion, it is especially likely that you're going to have bad flashing. It's not super bad, but it's bad enough that it could cause problems. You're going to come through this door, you're going to close the text box, and you're going to run to the right here. You're going to come over this ledge here. I like to hold L2 because this tends to jump you. And then once you come down, about a second of the stairs, you can just jump off and forward, and you'll land right here. Come to this one first, and with pushing items, if you just hold forward, you'll push it whatever normal. I'm going to pull it back now. If you, for example, were to go forward, and then during the animation of Roberta pushing it forward, you did either to the left or to the right, and then pushed it back forward again, the stick that is, you can buffer the push animation to cancel the animation and input another push. So it should look like this. Like that. I messed up a little bit there at the beginning, and you can do it fairly fast. Like that. And so you're going to do that for all three of these. And then you're going to watch this cutscene. My apologies, my throat is killing me. I have not done this much talking in a while. So from here, we're going to drop straight down. And we're going to come over to the right to this thing. And we can do the same thing with moving them to the right, but you start going right, forward, right, whatever. I'm going to come to the other one, and we're going to do the same thing. Once we finish moving this, we're going to get a cutscene starting with the clock starting to make noise. You can hold back on the stick, and you'll start moving towards where we need to go for the next trip. For the next clip, I believe. So you can just hold R1 and back, and then you can just stop after a little bit, and you'll be roughly in place to where you need to go. Okay, so it put me facing here. We're going to turn around. So that's where we just were. We want to see this table and those barrels. We're going to jump into these barrels, and this is another speed clip. This one can be a bit finicky until you get a feel for it. I tend to like having my camera off to the side here, but play with what feels good. You're basically going to run into this corner, and you're going to wiggle the stick like this until Roberta is like partly through the wall, and then you can just jump through it. You'll have to have your speed going for that. So it should look like this. So she's going in, whatever. So there she's partially in the wall. I can just jump through. You can get caught in a little bit of collision right here. If you do, you can just jump through that again. And then if you end up seeing this, you're going to go to the right of that. If not, you can just look for this wall. It's pretty clear which way you're going once you've seen it once or twice. And you're going to hug with the wall on your left side. And so here, you're going to go straight forward. There's two things you can do here. Either you can angle yourself and go straight that way. I did that poorly. Let me go back in there. So you can either hug to the left side there and go directly to the with clock tower is 99. Yeah, it is directly into the cutscene with the old lady there, or you can take the safe strat and go straight forward over to the stairs, and then from the stairs you can go up after jumping in bounds, and I'll show that now. So you can do this clip again. Here, I hit R3 to center it so that I can actually see behind the wall. Come out here. And this time I'm just going to run straight. You're going to keep running even when stuff disappears until you drop back down, and you're here. You're going to jump through this wall, and this is the stairs we came up before from the cutscene after seeing the old lady. We're going to run up the stairs and then straight across. We're going to hit the cutscene here. And so the fun thing about that warp is as soon as we cross this white line right here over the stairs, it's going to warp us in front of the clock tower door for some reason. It might not happen since I already did it once and I messed it up and whatnot, but we're going to find out what happens. And what that would do... Yeah, it's not going to do it. Okay, so normally what would happen is I would get warped right here. So you're going to turn to your right, and you're going to go up these stairs. You're going to go left through this door. And you're going to go around this fountain, and you're going to go back to the stairs we came up to come into the palace in the first place. And a thing that I like to do just for like minimal time save, when you hit about here, so the middle of these two shapes, I am holding L2 the whole time, and then I start holding back on L2. So I hit the cutscene trigger and I come back just to save a little bit of time. And we turn around and we go back. A thing to note here. So there's two sets of minion spawns. So there's the ones here that I just hit, which is this guy and a guy over here. And over here in front of this door, there is a slow minion spawn. If you hold L2 from either as early as you want, or from at least this point on until you get through the door, it will delay his spawn enough that he shouldn't hit you so long as you still have speed potion going. Delaying his spawn until there, and I'm through the door, and he would have spawned behind me right there. He used to hit a lot of the time. That makes it so he hits you maybe 1% of the time at most. Sorry, I'm autopiloting a little bit. Okay, so we just came here. This was the slow minion. We're going to come down these right stairs, past the clock tower, and up these stairs. And we're going to take right. And so this is going to be a pattern of left, right, 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 left. So we're going to go left through this door, right through this door, right through this door, right through this door, left through this door. And this is the only doors in the room, so it's not a big deal. And straight through this one into the endless staircase. With the endless staircase, instead of having to run down these stairs, you can just run over here, hold L2, and then drop off here. It saves you a little bit of movement. For the statues, you want to hear the stinger, so you come to the first one that gives you the stinger. So there's the first one here that doesn't do anything. He's just like, what are you doing? So you come to the first one with the stinger. He's here. He tells you to go down. So we're going to come here. And there's these two stairs that look a little different. So here's the line between the planes. So this is the upper set of stairs, and this is the lower set of stairs. If you step just onto the lower set, you'll see the camera kind of flick, and then back up onto the upper set of stairs. You can then go back down. That counts as you're going down, and then you're going back up from the third statue. And you'll come back here, and the next statue will say, go down again. So we'll do it again. We'll do that, and we'll come back down, and that's the endless staircase. You don't have to go very far, just barely over that seam. From here, it'll start you facing Roberta, so you'll hold left, and you'll come just hugging this wall. And then you'll come to this opening, and you'll go here, and you'll enter the door to exit the library and finish Act 2. Here we're going to spawn into Act 3. And so Act 3 starts off with a Megajump. So we're going to run straight forward, come up this ledge. There's a text that's going to pop up here. And there's this darker stone right here in the middle of these. I like to grab here on this stone, on this right side. And make sure you get low gravity by grabbing the stone. I like to make sure that I get a grab on the very edge, so delaying when I press forward to make sure that Tor is on the back side of it. And then I'm aiming myself at these trees in the back right here. I don't like to go too far to the left. It doesn't seem to matter. But what you're going to do is you're going to stand right here, and you're just going to do a mega jump. You're going to close that text box, and you're going to come right over that wall. If you don't go over the wall, you can adjust your angle a little bit. You can try it again the same way. It doesn't matter as long as you get the mega jump. So I'm going to do it a few more times. Let's say I come to the left side of this, and say I angle towards this part of this tree. I know some people have like a consistent lineup to just go flying over this thing. I don't know why I can't get that, but I can't. That time I bonked on this. So you need enough space between this ledge and the third ledge there. I'm counting the one I'm standing on now as the first ledge. To not bonk on anything. So now I'm aiming at the tree in the background, and I'll come to right over it. Not a big deal. Sometimes you'll get the fly, and you'll Tokyo drift around here and whatnot. So you'll just follow the path, jump up this, text skip, jump up this again. And there's a text box here. We can get low gravity on this text box, which allows us to do a Cloak Dash or Megajump, whichever you prefer, over the bridge. So if you just jump into this, close text box. I like to stand on this wooden beam right here. The reason being, if you're too close to this edge here, you can ledge fly, but if you're doing a Mega Jump or Cloak Dash input, it can end up resulting in you upwards ledge flying and soft locking the game. So if you're going to do the Cloak Dash or the Mega Jump, you stand here. That's the Cloak Dash. I'm going to go back to the other side real quick. You can stand here and do... I mean, it's pretty lenient, but still. Do the Mega Jump there. That's all dandy. Remember, if you need to get low gravity, you can just hit an item and interrupt a slash attack like that. If you want to, there is the strat that we do in No Cloak, which is doing a Coyote Frame L2 jump here. That didn't hit. That's fine. That is a crazier water walk than the Cogham one. Alright then. There is an L2 jump you can do here. It's kinda awful, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm out of practice. That doesn't work. I wouldn't hash it out until you're doing No Cloak. If you really want to do it, you can, and you can just kind of YOLO for it, just like do that. But it seems to work better if you have a speed pop, but you don't seem to need it. I wouldn't say it's worth it. If you want to do a Ledgefly, I believe, it's been a while since I've done this, it's walk off onto that plank, turn around, and then do a down Ledgefly. And it'll come right across. Almost. Not quite there, I guess. I haven't done this Ledgefly in many years. Not there. When in doubt, do the Mega Jump, or the Cloak Dash, or something. I'm not 100% sure where to do this Ledgefly. I thought it was right off of this. Maybe it is, maybe I'm just bad. Maybe I need to angle it to the side more. I'm not 100% sure. I'll try it one more time. I got it. It's whatever. As long as you get across the bridge, you're gold. From here, we're going to come this way. We're going to follow this path over to the trees that I showed the backup for earlier. A thing to note here, it seems, so if you're on console, we pretty much have guaranteed that this will reduce lag for loading the plains and all the monsters here. But it seems on emulator and console, looking down here, albeit hard to do at certain points, can manipulate the enemy spawns to not spawn / not aggro you, and thus reducing the number of hits you're potentially going to take. Specifically, once you get close to the bridge over here, I look down about here and just stare at this brown texture and hold L2 to go over the bridge. And I heard the artillery didn't spawn. I messed up my angling a little bit, but that's fine. And so you can look up a little bit here, run. For here to avoid Gord's text, I kind of aim to the right side of, basically inside this marigold patch, just to make sure I don't hit his text box. You can look down again here with L2 to try and not spawn this wizard and this artillery over here. Regardless, I just ran straight forward from over there, and I'm just back here. To give you a point of reference, these are the rocks that we were at, that we did the water warp at to go over to Gnarfas in Act 1. And if I continue down this path, you'll see the smoke wall going into Meridell. These trees right here, we can do the same clip. So if we run into this corner until we get the jitter, turn to the side until we find a place where we don't jitter, and then jump towards the tree, and then jump through the wall. Not terribly hard. It takes some getting used to with like feeling out the clip more than anything else. So there I didn't do the left face. And there you go. You're almost jumping at the tree diagonally to get through it. Here, we've popped out right here, which should look familiar because there's this gap in the textures. So if we come around and back here, then walk through this wall, we're facing Meridell. This is the exact same as Act 1. We're going to run straight forward. We're going to avoid the two planes like the plague. If you're doing the console fast strat, you can do that here as well. If not, you can do the same old strat as before. And here, you have two options. You can either opt to just stay as Tor, equip the cloak when we go into darkness, and then unequip the cloak to remove the darkness once we're in the courtyard, or we can swap to Roberta once the water disappears. Swapping characters also removes darkness, but we need to be Roberta to remove the darkness, to remove the shield on the sisters. Once we're in the courtyard, we're going to enter the barracks as normal. We need to remove the shield on the sisters so that we can actually damage them as Tor, which I prefer to cut out one extra menu by swapping to Roberta there. It saves a teensy bit of time by not having to do a second character swap or display swap or costume swap, whatever, what have you. As long as you get in the barracks, I don't care. Nobody cares. Just get inside the barracks, that's all that matters. So you'll start, you'll come inside, you'll be facing this way, you're gonna hold down, and you're gonna leave the barracks and go right. We're gonna take a left up here, and we're gonna go up the second set of stairs. So this here. Here, there are two pillars. So there is this support banister and this support banister. I like to jump just to the right of the second one. So this second one here, I like to jump just here. I click R3 behind Roberta. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a down X Ledgefly, so a regular Ledgefly. It's going to send me slightly down. And once I'm starting the Ledgefly, I'm going to start holding L2, R1, and forward. And once my camera flicks up, I'll be following Roberta properly in the y=0 plane, and there's a good chance she's going to be falling into the stairway, which I'll explain in a second. And at that point, you can continue holding L2, R1, and forward, and jump, and that will keep her out of bounds. Should look like that. Yeah, so that was a little laggy and weird, but that's the stairway I'm talking about. And so here, we would walk right over here, and we're going to walk specifically into this square. This square connects to stairs that are right here, but this has the cutscene trigger that allows us to warp directly from Gauntlet after we finish it to the sisters instead of having to run up the stairs. It's a small time save. We're here anyway. We might as well. Let's say, for example, you fall into the stairs. You have two options. You can take the time loss. You can go back to the stairs we were at just before, which would be fastest going down here, doing a U-turn, taking another right, coming here, and just doing this Ledgefly again. Or you can opt to, once you're on the stairs, come up the stairs and then enter this first room on the right. Here we can do another plant clip. This is the one we have to do in no cloak after doing Gauntlet. We used to have to do a no cloak after doing Gauntlet. But you can sit here, you can turn into the plant. This is exactly like the JOOB plant clip, and just jump through the wall. It's the same way. The camera can be a little mean to you sometimes, so just beware of that. You'll turn into it. If you're like this and Roberta's not turning any more into it, like getting closer to the wall, hold this angle, jump, and then turn away and then back. I found that to be pretty consistent. Once you're here, you can see these are the stairs we were at before. Up here is the sisters' hallway. Come over to this side. I like to say on this dark gray or this light square here, somewhere around here-ish. You're going to go forward and you're going to jump. That's going to get you out of the wall. So now we're going to be up here. This is exactly where we would have fallen through, right here if we just walked through before. So since we're Roberta, we can walk over here and we'll see the sisters. So we're going to hit the sisters once, any one of them with Roberta. You can see there that my magic depleted a little bit and that the projectile didn't go and hit anything behind them. So you can guarantee that that means that they have been hit with the wand. And thus they don't have their shield anymore. With Tor, we're going to go ahead and menu light because we'll need it for Gauntlet. And we're going to do one slash like that, equip the power potion and use it, another slash like that, and then jump slashes until Vanity is at 0 HP. I found this to be the most consistent to get her as low as possible. That is going to mess that up a little bit, but that's okay. I think I need to do one more to fix that. Okay. If you accidentally do some extra slashes, if you can do 5 slashes and the rest jump slashes, she'll be right here on this HP. Then you're going to come behind Spite and Malice. You're going to face basically straightforward, and you're going to do a delayed 3-hit combo. You need to delay it so you can hit both of them with every attack. So it's going to look slow, and you can shield cancel these as well. If I do it too fast, I found a good position apparently. Most of the time if you do it too fast, it'll be like that. Or that. But I ended up killing their health at that point. So just find it here, do a bit of a delayed attack. If they had a teensy bit of health left, which can happen sometimes, do 2 quick jabs into them, like that, and that will set their health to 0. Here, we'll come to this Ottoman, and there's 2 ways to do this Ledgefly. I'll show off both of them. So one is the standard Ottoman Ledgefly. Once you kill the sisters, go ahead and pop a power potion, or sorry, a Meerca speed potion, and then re-equip your power potion. You will need it for Gauntlet. So here, you're going to hold R1, and we're going to force I don't know if the R1 is necessary. It's how I've done it. It's worked for me. You're going to force unequip the cloak and hold forward. And then delay just a little bit, but during that cutscene of it unequipping the cloak and going white, you're going to turn your stick to the right. So you're going to rotate the stick along the edge of the stick border from up to right, or back right-ish, somewhere in there. And when the screen goes white, you're going to hit X like a normal Ledgefly, so it should look like this. So there you can kind of see Tor turn before the screen turned fully white. That's how you know you've done it right. The Ottoman's kind of annoying. For getting on the Ottoman, I let the auto jump do it, and then I just keep holding forward, and then once it auto jumps me, I start holding L2, just so I don't start jumping onto the chair and whatnot. I kind of aim the middle of Tor's head round about this seam in these 2 squares here, so basically the middle of this bottom brick. And I'll just do that a few more times. I didn't mean to pop that. I'll give myself that back later. This one takes a little bit of practice to get. I only actually recently figured out what I was doing wrong with it, so don't feel bad if you can't get it. If you do it too late, you'll get a slow Ledgefly. If you do it too early, I believe you just end up jumping off. Yeah, like that. So that's how you can kind of tell what your timing is. If you're jumping off of the Ottoman, you're doing the turn too early. If you're going really slow, then you did it too late. That time, I had good timing, but I was too close to the edge here. That's what I was trying to get there. So you want to be somewhere in the middle along the edge of this Ottoman. I don't really have a good way to explain it, to be honest with you. I guess you could look at Tor's feet and see if both feet are like on the Ottoman. So like the edge of his right foot is just barely off of it, kind of, but not really. I had bad X timing there. Don't worry about that. Just like that. There you go. If that's giving you problems, or if you don't want to deal with that, you can do Disha Strat, which is where you hold L2 and you put the camera straight down on Tor. You turn so you're facing this back corner of the Ottoman right here. So we've turned to the right a little bit more than 90 degrees. And we're just going to do a down X Ledgefly. And you'll fly right through the wall. And it's the same thing. The reason we turned the camera all the way down there is that the camera doesn't like this plant being here, and if we try to do it from here, I don't think the Ledgefly works consistently. Yeah, because you'll bonk the chair there. So if you're going to do this, turn the camera all the way down, turn it to the side. I look for Tor's head being like in the spike at the corner of the Ottoman being through Tor's head. Doing a down Ledgefly, just like that. If your angle's a little off, or if you don't get all the way through, you could have potentially been too far back on the Ottoman, or you could have had your angle a little bit too far out and you went too far down, or anything like that. There we go. So we're out of bounds. So from here, this is where both of the Ledgeflies will put you. Walk back from here, and you can kind of see that there is just a gap of a room right here, right next to where we were. We're going to walk directly into that gap. And that will put us in the Gauntlet room near the backside. Those are the doors we would have come in. I'm going to give myself a power potion again. Normally, so we're going to walk up to this door. We're going to pop the power potion just before, and we're going to start Gauntlet. So there's a few ways to do this. And I'm actually going to make a save right here, because Gauntlet can be interesting. I would recommend having a Gauntlet save. So, I'm going to pop this power potion, I'm going to walk into this cutscene here, and what's going to happen is there's going to be 3 warriors that spawn. So we're going to be a little bit to the right of this, I just don't want to hit the cutscene. The fast strat for Gauntlet would be, assuming you had a Meerca speed potion, you come here, jump slash this first one, then the second one, then the third one. If they target you, just 3-hit combo them, they're really annoying, it's okay. Once you have used your power potion and your speed potion and whatnot, equip your blue juppies, your purple juppies. You're going to need them because we're going to be freezing both these 2 brutes and we're going to be freezing both of the artilleries. Once we've killed the warriors, we're going to come over here. So here's the door that we started at. We're going to come over here. We're going to freeze the 2 brutes so we can go ahead and have this basically ready. And then right when they spawn, do that. And then we're going to swap to light. And we're going to do shield cancels on both of these. And we're going to get the 4th hit on them because they're frozen. And we're also going to get the increased damage from the hidden stealth mechanic in the game. We're going to do that for both of these. If you are playing really fast from when you pop the potion killing the sisters, somewhere between the warriors and the brutes, the power potion will run out on Tor, so you'll have to repop it. So you'll have to find a time to menu it in here. It's a little weird, but you'll get a hang for it. This guy we will not freeze, so we'll end up doing the 3-hit combos here. And then we're going to re-menu our water mote and hover our wind mote. We're going to end up freezing the artillery as soon as it spawns, swapping to the wind mote, and then hitting this guy. Jump slashes are best I've found personally. That's what I like doing. Once you've done that, you're going to hit water mote. You're going to pop, I believe it's either 2 or 3 purple juppies, run over here, freeze that guy, put on the wind mote, do 3 jump attacks or however many it is again, and then swap to Roberta. If you feel comfortable in your menuing, you can go ahead and be Tor for a little longer here while they processes the dying animation. Menu the Meerca speed potion, swap to Roberta, and then menu her power potion to kill the sisters faster. If you're really confident in your menuing, you can move this to light mode and you can give Roberta this wind mode. Because it's a tier 2 mote, you'll do a little bit more damage. If for whatever reason one of the sisters has more health than they're supposed to, you can more likely one-shot them, is the reasoning behind that. But we're going to play through Gauntlet as if we're doing it for real. I'll see how well I can do this. I'm going to say I had popped the potion for the Displacement Ottoman Ledgefly, and we're just running right here, and boom. I hit R3 to center the camera behind me after this cutscene. Here. And this one saw me. Yep. So we're gonna come here. We're gonna freeze them. You get a feel for what their spawn timing looks like. Don't worry if you can't get it at first. Yep. So we're gonna pop 2 juppies there. Freeze this guy as soon as he spawns, and then as soon as you release the water, you can put on the wind mote. And I was right, it was 2 juppies. I want to do this. I didn't get it on Roberto, because I forgot. Okay. That's Gauntlet. That is the fast strat for Gauntlet. We're getting a cutscene here. Cutscene. So you can see that because we hit the cutscene trigger for the sisters, we warped directly up here as soon as possible. And so that's great. And because we hit them with Roberta's wand attack before, they have that cutscene of them losing their shields. And because we whittled them down with Tor, they no longer have their health anymore. So when we go to attack them, they'll just immediately die, theoretically. The problem with doing the warp from Gauntlet up here is that in a second here, it's going to play the cutscene of the doors from Gauntlet opening, which is great, but it gives a lot of downtime for them to potentially kill us, which is a problem. Because of that, it is best that once you finish Gauntlet, you have the first cutscene of, getting warped up to the sisters, King Scarl being possessed, whatever. Start spamming attacks. You'll get however many you can get in there. And then you'll spawn in again after she just took our shields or whatever cutscene. So the second cutscene that you get. And then after that cutscene, do jump attacks. Start doing jump attacks immediately. The cutscene for the Gauntlet doors is going to start playing. Doing the jump attacks is going to move you during that cutscene a little bit, so it's going to be less likely you get hit as much, and it's going to help guarantee you don't die. It's still possible, but it reduces the likelihood a lot, because if you're just standing still here, they're probably just going to gang up on you and murder you. Jump attacks for pretty much this entire section is the best way to do this, and you're just going to strafe around and just jump attack. So I got to jump off there, which was good. We're just going to keep doing this. You don't have to move the camera here, you can just keep moving like this, but you're just going to keep doing jump attacks around. And that's what Sister's going to look like. So I'm going to run it back real quick, and I'll show the other strat for Gauntlet if I can remember how to do it. It's a little bit different, it's a little bit safer. The big change from it is the warriors being safer. So the warriors can be kind of mean, but if instead we were to... That is right. Run in the center here, get their attention, and do that. We can freeze them, and then sometimes you'll have to fight 1 or 2 of them. If you do it well, you can freeze all 3 of them. I was never good at it, to be honest with you. Ooh, okay. That's another thing. Because you freeze them, you'll have to pop some jumpies early, but that's okay. So I forgot to do that, but you would freeze these guys for popping 2 jumpies, and then this will continue as normal from here. So the rest of this will be all normal with the first way of doing Gauntlet. So there I ran out of water because I had ended up having troubles with that first minion. Normally that wouldn't happen, but if it does happen, it's not a big deal. I would have already gotten warped up to the sisters here because I did because I reloaded and I didn't go hit the cutscene trigger, it doesn't activate. I'm going to do that one more time in full speed with the fast Gauntlet method and show that off, and then we're going to continue from there. Alright, This is a alternate way to get upstairs, by the way. I found this for no cloak. If you open this chest and have a speed potion, you can come right here, hold L2 and R1 forward, and just jump through the wall. Upwarp up here, and jump right back in bounds right here. So they should be at 0 health still. No, because I reloaded the save, they'll have their shield and whatnot back. So let me quickly... Whoops. Yeah, so here I messed up a little bit, so Vanity has some extra health. That's okay. So here they have that little bit of health. If I do the jab attack, they'll both get hit by it and have no health left. I can't do it on Vanity because she has just a little bit less health, so that's okay. I wasn't supposed to eat that neg. That's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. We're going to do the Ottoman Ledgefly out. You might have seen it there for a second. Tor has Roberta's outfit. That's an artifact from having the double cloak, is that whenever you get a new outfit, it overwrites one of them. So because we swapped to Roberta earlier, Tor now has Roberta's outfit and the second cloak and the other cloak. So don't worry about that. I'm really being bad at this today. I'm very sorry. There we go. Okay. Now I believe that's worn off. Yep. So I'm going to do this like normal. You can really get up in their faces there. If you freeze them really soon after they spawn, you can get the squish minion like that. I didn't mean to spin attack there, but if you do, it's not a big deal. Sometimes he can be mean and either control grab you or block you on command. Ooh, I thought I had enough. Okay. Okay, so that one I normally would have gone to freeze, but that's okay. I jumped over him by luck. If they start giving you trouble, it's not a big deal. Just play them like normal. Do note, the artilleries hit really, really hard. So if they do hit you, it is very likely that you may die. I don't know why I didn't get... Oh, I didn't hit the trigger. Let's act like I hit the trigger and I'm up there right now. Sorry about that. The artillery can two-shot you very easily, so just beware. Roberta likes to target the ones that are actively dying, so that's also a thing. Just keep shooting until it goes dark. So now we're at the end of Act 3. So we'll pop a speed potion, and we're going to come into the right side of the maze. You don't have to do this. You can walk casually up the stairs there, and then hug the right and down the stairs. But this speed clip is basically free. We can come back here to where the magic stone was, and we can hold L2 and R1 and forward and just kind of wiggle a little bit so we can pop through here. Easy fence clip. From right here, just hold straight left, and you'll pop up here, right in front of the library. Go right into the library, and we're into the library. And then we go back from where it's facing at Roberta, and then right. So we're hugging the wall to our left now, into the endless staircase. Endless staircase is the same as before. Turn back and do that. Hit the first quiggle. Hit the 2 loading cutscenes. Hit the second quiggle. 2 loading cutscenes, or 2 loading triggers, and then out of the endless staircase. From here, we're going to run back towards the camera and then turn around. And this is going to be the opposite of what it was before. So before it was left, right, 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 left. This time it's right, left, 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 right. 1, 2, 3 left, and then a right. depending on when you popped your Meerca speed potion, it'll either run out there or it'll run out during the stuff here in the end of Act 3. Here, I skipped it. My apologies. When you come out of this door, hug to the right here, and then go down these stairs into the atrium bit, and then hug right, and go straight back. These doors can catch you sometimes. It's not a big deal if they do. And this is entering the Act 3 ending cutscene. So if you go towards... I messed it up. If you go towards this here, and then turn a little bit towards the portal there, you can get Roberta to shoot directly at the target. You need 4 shots to hit the target. That's all you need, and you're good. You can run over here. The pattern for this is left, left, right to get them all to be red. Again, text skipping whenever you can, and then running straight to the portal. That is the end of Act 3. Act 4 is even shorter. You're immediately going to swap to Tor here, and I'll explain why in a second. A lot of people will also safety save here. It is not a bad idea. Nobody's going to make fun of you for doing so. It's a very stressful area, and it can go wrong very easily. So this is where it differs from the old route because we don't have a Nova or Supernova mode. We're going to pop a potion as Tor, so it's going to start us facing this way. We're going to pop a potion as Tor, we're going to go to the right. This statue right here causes a cutscene, about halfway of the stairs thick. So hug the right side of the stairs and you won't hit that cutscene. We're going to come up along the right side up to this stair landing and then up here. And we're going to grab this Supernova Mote. And so that's what we're going to need for the TDF fight. Technically, you don't need it. We could menu it the whole time. We'd have to react to what she has. So from here, we picked up the Supernova Mote here. We're going to turn right. We're going to run here, hold L2 to drop right off, go behind the statue that we were avoiding before, and get on this ledge. I don't know if low gravity is necessary. I've always gotten it. Not going to hurt. We're going to face the wall. We're going to do 2 jabs to make sure Tor's on the edge. Focus the camera behind him. We're going to do a down X Ledgefly. We're going to downwards Ledgefly there. If you get a straight angle Ledgefly or an upwards Ledgefly, the game will crash. That's the end of the run. There's nothing you can do about it. It is very, very beneficial to practice this, and if you feel unsure about it, to just make a save. It's not going to hurt. It's better to finish the run than to lose it to some stupid soft block. When you pop out here, you're going to be facing the wall most likely, so just come out and turn around. If you look down, that's the elevator past the trials of Act 4. That'll take you all the way down, so you have to get all those buttons to make a new elevator, then go down, down, and whatnot. So we can just kind of walk right over it with L2 and pop into it. Pay attention to where the door is if you can see it. If not, you can just spin the camera to find it. I saw it here, so I know it's there. If the cutscene doesn't trigger to move the elevator down at first, you're probably too far on the edge. You need to be at least on this second inner line for it to trigger. But we have the last scary trick of the game. We're going to run straight out through this door, and we're going to take a left. You can do this with high gravity or low gravity. High gravity is perfectly fine. If you wanted to do low gravity, come here to this wall, and you're going to do a jump slash, but you're going to keep holding into the wall to make sure Tor actually hits it. If you don't, sometimes he won't hit it. But if you hold into the wall and do it, he will guaranteed hit it almost every time. Probably 90% of the time. But low gravity or not, we're going to stand away from the ledge. I'd say on your monitor, maybe like inch and a half, 2 inches, something like that. Enough that you're not worried you're going to accidentally ledge fly upwards. And you're going to do a mega jump. I should point out where I'm looking. So you can stand pretty much anywhere along here before it starts getting lighter. So like beyond, between the elevator over here and like here-ish is fine. I like to stand about here, and I aim Tor about at this seam. So this brick here and this one that's getting cut off by this wall piece, I aim right at that seam right there. The reason being, there's a little bit of collision back there that we can land on, and if we land on it, we can get high gravity while walking, which means that we can drop down manually and fast fall down into the last area. If not, you'll still land on the stairs, you'll be okay. But we'll do a mega jump there. So this is what I was talking about. So if you don't land on this, you'll fall straight down, you'll be okay. You'll either land in the regular void pit and you'll spawn back on the stairs, or you'll land on the stairs and you'll be okay. If you land here, then you'll just hold L2, walk off, and then walk back under it. I didn't hold forward. Okay, hold forward. I meant to say hold forward. My apologies. I will load back there. Not a problem. I am going to load myself into... Where am I looking? Hall of Heroes. V2. And this is the great thing. You get to show that mistakes happen. It's okay. It doesn't... The world is dark here because I loaded into it when I wasn't supposed to. Don't worry about that. It's fine. I'm also going to give Roberta the wand she's supposed to have, because I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but it might. Plate, dress, sorcerer's wand. So we're going to come up here. We're going to grab this supernova mote. Come down here, behind the statue. Do that. Do that. Find the wall. Drop down into the elevator. And be done. And again, that's exactly a reason why you should make a save. I didn't expect a game over playing there. That's okay. Stuff happens. It's never going to hurt. Even with a Brazilian hours of practice, you can still mess up. Okay, and so here we have light mode hovered. The reason we did that is because the first pillar that we're gonna hit is for light. So if you miss it, you'll just keep holding forward and you'll do that. That's fine. If you were to drop down properly and hold forward throughout where I would have game over there last time, you would drop down here, and if you're lucky, you'll hit the stairs and go sliding with a little bit of speed forward, and that can save you some movement time. But you'll have Meerca speed potion equipped, you'll have light equipped, and then this is tricky menuing. Come over here, you'll hit the light statue, and then during this time that you're moving over here and hitting it, you'll menu to fire. And if you use R2 to attack, you won't unequip the mote you're using, and you can just do this all at once. And so the order is light, fire, wind, dark, water, leaf, and then you're going to equip your supernova. So I just wind. We don't have dark, but when we hit the statue, with or without a mote, it doesn't matter. It will spawn a mote there. Go ahead and jump into it, and then equip it, and then hit it again. Get your water mote. If I can actually hit the things, that'd be great. Get your leaf mote. While you're walking over here, you can hover your supernova and put your supernova on. If you put your supernova on later, that's fine. Run directly into this light, and this is the end of Act 4 and end of the game sequence. If we're going to run back, you can either L2 run back, or you can run back manually. It doesn't matter, as long as you get there. To hit that cutscene, it's going to spawn this light. We're going to run forward into the light. That's going to put us in the final boss. I'm also going to make a save here. There are several ways to do this boss. I don't know if that save is going to work or not, but we're going to find out. So I like to jump into that wall there because it guarantees that it will actually load the boss fight, because sometimes it just doesn't play nice. Sometimes if you just run up to it with Meerca speed, it just won't load the cutscene. If you jump into it from just a little bit behind it, it seems to always do it for some reason. I'm not really sure why. So there's a multitude of ways to do this fight. This fight is hit based, not damage based, which is why she doesn't have a health bar. And she can either spawn ads, being the minion warriors, or she can shoot nodes at you. If she shoots the nodes, all you have to do is block it back. That's great. If you are blocking or if you're just unlucky, she will shoot ads at you, which are bad because time loss and bad because they can completely ruin the run sometimes. So avoid blocking until she shoots a node at you is the number one thing. Number two, if you're too close to her, she's going to blast you back. So you have to get far enough away from her for her to not do that. The greatest thing is that if you say if you hit her and you move back fast enough during her like end of stun animation after you've hit her for the threshold hit or whatever it is, you can avoid her getting the blowback on you and have her shoot another orb at you in that time. So the fastest strat that exists is using spin attacks and backing out before she can blast you back. Second fastest is doing 3-hit combos and frame perfectly shield canceling and getting out before she can blast you back, which I have videos of me doing in a specific run from a long time ago. I can find that and send that or post that if you're curious to see it, but I would not recommend trying to do that. And you have jump attacks. I would say if for whatever reason, say a minion is spawned and she's being mean, and you go to do your spin attack or your 3-hit combo and the minion hits you in the middle of it, you're not going to have time to finish a spin attack or a 3-hit combo and hit her. Do a jump attack because it will count for the damage threshold or however it calculates it, and it's faster because the moment you start to input it is the moment that it counts it. I'm going to go through a few times to show this. Okay, so that was a fairly good fight. For this Roberta section right here, if you are too close to the Darkest Faerie, she will try to melee her, and there's 3 minions that spawn above her, which is really bad. If the minions start getting on you, you're going to lose a ton of time. If you're too close to her, you're going to start meleeing her, and that's what's going to cause the minions to probably get on you most of the time. So you need to make sure that you back away a little bit as Tor before. Now, the tricky part is that if you're holding a direction, whether that be back on the stick, right on the stick, whatever, when the automated character swap starts, you will continue moving for a second or two as Roberta, and you cannot control it whatsoever. I guess you can turn, but you can't really control it. So that'll lose you a little bit of time where you could be attacking her. Like right now, I'd still be running. If you back away with Tor before the cutscene trigger, or just don't touch anything once you've hit her, and then move back as Roberta, or if you've moved back as Tor, then you can just start attacking her then, you won't move at all, and you can just immediately start spamming attacks. And so just attack her, and you'll walk up to her. The closer you can be, the better, and that'll be the end of the game. I'm going to see if that load works. I can show off the 2 other... it's Act 3, that's right. I can show off the 2 other methods of doing this fight. So this is probably the most casual friendly, is doing it... Whoops. I actually got the shield cancel there. Wow. Okay, so there I did get the stun on her, but I went back to her too fast, and therefore she blasted me back during her stun. So that was another good fight. I actually did that surprisingly well, but you can get shield cancels there. It's just, it has to be a couple frames long at most for her to not, you know, blast you back anyway. And this will be the jump attacks. And there's no way you're getting away with the jump attacks, unfortunately, but it is a guaranteed safe way to do it. You're going to get it every time as soon as you input the attack. And so sometimes you'll get a weird, or I guess you'll get a weird jump like that with Roberta when you do the jump attacks. From here, you'll pop your last potion. If you don't have a potion, but you have enough money through whatever means, you can come over here and buy one. It has saved me time in the past. It is better to go buy one than not have a potion for this. You're going to run down here. You're going to run up these stairs, and you're going to turn around and start running towards the fountain. time will stop when there's just a little bit before this like darkness here. There's a fade trigger for the cutscene. When that fade starts, that is time. So right now. Congratulations on finishing the run. If you guys were helped by this, let me know. Join the Neopets speedrunning Discord if you're not in it. But thanks for hanging out. I got a lot of work in front of me to get this out. But hey, come check me out. Ask me questions either in the Discord or on Twitch if you want. I stream most days during the summer right now since I'm on break, but anybody in our Discord is going to be more than happy to help. This community is great. We want as many people as we can to be here and play the game. Like, just get loved on at the very least. We love you guys. So, thanks for being here. Thanks for playing the game. Yeah. I'll see y'all later.